Christie kicks it high and short. Going to be fielded by Lorenzo Neal at the 25. Pitches it back to Wycheck. He throws it across the field to Dyson.
He's got. Listen to the crowd. Here's the snap. Here's the kick. It is long enough. It is good. Loose as they get it to Rogers. They give it back down to the 30. They're down to the 20. Oh, the band is out on the field. He's going to go into the end zone. He's going into the end zone.
One into right down the line. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. It's a home run, and the Cardinals have won the game.
And now, coming to you live from the entertainment capital of the world, Mission Viejo, California, it's Chicken Wings and Pizza on the FYI Ministry Studios Radio Network. Here's Big Mike in Hebrew. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another live edition of CWP on a Saturday night. Duo that is Big Mike in Hebrew.
There we go.
Oh, we're having a few technical difficulties. I can't even talk either. Anyway, welcome to the show, everybody.
Big Mike in Hebrew.
All right, we live, man. I can hear you now.
Something going on here with the stuff, but it's like Magic and Larry Bird without all the hate.
Yeah, pretty much. We don't hate each other at all. Just when we talk about LeBron versus Michael.
Only when you say something stupid.
Well, honestly, then you should be mad at me most of the time. So I don't quite understand why you aren't mad at me more often. How you doing, brother?
Oh man, I'm doing really good. It was a good week, definitely out there. Taking care of the family, working all week long, everything like that. How's everything going with you, Mike?
Good, man. Doing that college internship and making sure that getting that education finished, so I can do radio for a living one day, hopefully. So we'll see how that works out. But
it must be hard trying to teach you at college, boy.
Yeah, well, actually, my teachers they find that I'm very difficult to teach, as a matter of fact, and they get really, really, really upset with me most of the time. But I wouldn't have it any other way. Tonight, we actually are very happy to welcome our very special guest, Emmanuel Tarsus. Manny, what's going on, man? How you doing tonight?
Well, I guess if you're Magic and Larry, that makes me Isaiah Thomas.
So you're a bad boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you
Also, not a member of the Dream Team.
But that's not because of talent. That wasn't because of talent.
That was because Michael and Scotty didn't like him.
Yeah, that was because Michael Jordan had everything in his
I was
hands.
just watching the Dream Team special a couple days
30
ago.
for 30?
They play the one that comes on NBA TV.
The real one.
And I just, Christian Laettner being on the team and not Isaiah Thomas is probably one of the biggest travesties in NBA history.
Well, I tell you what, the Dream Team, for everything they were, that is the one thing that gets omitted a lot. Christian Laettner didn't deserve to be on the team. I can't believe Shaq didn't make that team.
They act like Isaiah Thomas is really
not
supposed to be on the team. Like, it's really something that they don't talk about.
He was supposed to be on the team. It's just that's how you know that politics are real in sports.
That's awesome because on this show we don't talk about
and
politics.
You know who Isaiah Thomas can really be bad at is whatever genius was created those Jordan rules.
Yeah, very. You can thank Rick Mahorn and Bill Lambert. But anyway, for those of you joining us for the first time, and for Manny Tarsus, he is at Emmanuel Tarsus, and you can find him on. That's going to be Instagram and Twitter at that.
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, everything. Emmanuel Tarsus, but my friends call me Manny.
Very nice, and we will be calling him Manny because I don't know that I can say Emmanuel all night and get it right every single time. Pluto.
Is it cool if I put this down or?
No, absolutely. Well, actually,
that's
actually
already
worth $173 million. So,
I got a huddle.
What's up over there, man? How you doing?
Greetings. How's everyone doing?
I think we're a little wound up tonight.
I think we need to make sure we cover up this Novi Bryant jersey as much as we can. He's not even in the NBA no more. I don't know what jersey this guy's wearing.
That's awesome because that Novi Bryant jersey has
baby.
5 rings. That one has none.
0.
So that's...
Anyway, good to see you guys.
Good to see you too,
great,
buddy.
amazing couple of days in the NBA action. We've got a huge fight tonight.
He's the only one
right?
left, man.
And actually, there's 2. There's the one between me and Hebrew and Pacquiao, and actually Pacquiao's
there you go.
tonight as well. So.
And it's great to see Mr. Emmanuel Tarsus here with us.
Yes, absolutely.
Before we go further, I know got a lot of talents from this guy we passed up. Christian rapper, actually a youth pastor. I don't know if you want to shout your church up while you're here.
I'm from Beach Point Church, Christian hip hop artist. I own a clothing brand at Lost and Found Clothing. missionary. I'm going to Africa in August.
That's
right. Very nice.
What country are you going to?
Yeah, Uganda.
Oh, okay. That's where my
Okay.
stepmom's from. That's nice.
Oh, wow.
praise
Okay.
God. Yeah, so, make music, but I love sports, and it's an avenue that I don't really, get to harp on. I've actually made a promise to myself that I wouldn't post about sports on my social media.
How's that working?
It's going. I do a lot of post and deletes, and I do a lot of. I do a lot of type and delete.
See,
so.
Matty, this is why chicken wings and pizza is perfect from you, because everything we do is from a Christian perspective. So
Absolutely.
it absolutely works in our favor that we are able to do that, because I feel the same way, doing the Christian rap and the ministry I do. But chicken wings and pizza, we get to do both at the same time. It makes it so awesome.
Actually, glad you brought that up, Hebrew. And for anybody listening to us or watching for the first time, first of all, we appreciate everybody listening and watching. If you're streaming us on Facebook or YouTube, whether it be on, obviously, Not By Bread Alone Radio, Power 102, or you can check us out on TuneIn or Roku, any of those avenues, we definitely appreciate you. We are on Shoutcast as well. And
Tune in at.
I already said that.
Oh, sorry.
Man, I'm giving the plugs here for crying. Wow. But I do want to say thank you very much to the hundreds of thousands of people who have been reached by this show, and to the 526 people who currently like it on Facebook, and to the 544 who follow us. And however you follow us, whether it's in the United States, the Philippines, India, in all of the countries, we're internationally known on the microphone, and that's a blessing as a sports radio show.
Especially the Philippines, man. Philippines really enjoyed us. If y'all out there right now, man, thank you. Y'all champion is fighting tonight. We'll definitely be talking about Manny Pacquiao.
Absolutely.
Back in the ring.
Manny Pacquiao's a Christian, too.
Yeah, big
time.
Big, outspoken, stands up for
and
Christ.
Puts his money where his mouth is. You could learn something from him, Floyd. Anyway, go ahead and hit us off with that verse, man.
We start things every week around here, coming from 1 John 5:13-14. These things have I written to you who believe in the name of the Son of God, that you may know that you have eternal life, and you may continue to believe in the name of the Son of God. This is the boldness which we have toward him, that if we ask anything according to this, he will listen to us. And, this just speaks to the power in the name of Jesus Christ. I know it wasn't mentioned, specifically in that verse, but this is the power that we have in the name of Jesus Christ. We pray in the name. We can expect these things to be answered, especially everything that lines up according to the will of God for our lives. It just speaks to the powerful, awesome God we serve. Definitely the reason why we're here doing this show weekly.
Well, and guys, as much as we do this from a Christian perspective, I know that a lot of people out there go, well, what does it mean when you say from a Christian perspective? And here's the thing. We give you the Word of God. We want you, to join us, in knowing Jesus as your Savior. But the other thing that this show provides is intense sports debate, talk. We don't talk politics. We don't talk about all the other stuff that the four-letter network sends out to everybody. We're not talking about race. We're not talking about, different politics that everybody seems to be involved in. We're giving you a sports forum that you can enjoy and just be open and share your opinions. Again, we stream live on Facebook, and all the comments are very much appreciated. So, again, thank you to everybody who's listening. And we're going to kick it off tonight with
Big Mike, speaking about our Facebook live stream, I think we might have hit a record. We're not even 10 minutes in and already have over 100 viewers.
Woo! That's amazing. Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's an incredible blessing. So, thank you to everybody who is, it is actual because of Emmanuel Tarsus, who is here, and we are, it's because of him we're at 109 views. But anyway, we are going to kick it off with what we like to call the sampler platter. And guys, if you've been living under a rock, you probably don't know that Chris Paul is no longer a Los Angeles Clipper, and
dead.
The only Clipper left, Blake Griffin.
Since you are the ultimate Clipper homer, as you have been known on this show from the beginning,
Laker hater, because every Clipper fan's a Laker hater.
Go ahead, Hebrew. Give us your thoughts on the departure of Chris Paul, buddy.
It's interesting. First, I would definitely have to respond to the Laker hater comment I just received from our guest today. It's not so much that I'm a Laker hater as much as even people that know me personally, they know how much I'm a player. I'm more of a fan of specific players than maybe the whole team. This is why I don't like the Lakers, because of the bad falling out, years ago with Shaq and Kobe. I'm on the Shaq side of things. We're going to the same thing here with Clippers Nation. So Chris Paul, everybody knows, my favorite player in the league right now. Best point guard we've seen in many years. All around stand-up guy.
Best point guard to never beat it at the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah. That's true. And
part of both teams that haven't been in the past.
I'm not
15
even
years.
going to get to talk tonight, Pluto. I think I'm just going to leave it.
No,
to them.
not for the NBA segment.
So
There's two teams that haven't made it to the Western Conference Finals in the past 15 years: the Hornets and the Clippers. And the leader of both those teams were yours truly, Chris Paul.
Except the Hornets are now in the Eastern Conference.
Exactly. He's talking about New Orleans.
I know.
But the great thing that we have here is it's happened once again. So Chris Paul now, has chosen to take his talents to Houston. Well, they'll obviously be much more appreciated because L.A. just didn't have enough room for such a great star because, he was supposed to be a Laker. So we know this conversation would be different if he might have been a Laker. People would be showing more love.
Can I ask you a
He
question
would
on
have
that?
been to the Western Conference Finals if he was a Laker.
Since you've been on both sides of this, I want to know what you think. Do you feel like there was a falling out? If the Lakers were better, do you think he holds out for another year as a Clipper and goes to the Lakers? Because I always thought that was an interesting aspect of this because this gave him a chance to stay in L.A. with his free agency. If he opts out, it doesn't even matter.
Well, see, this is the thing that's going on with that conversation. So the Brotherhood, also known as the Banana Boy Boys, your LeBron James,
right,
your
exactly,
and your Chris Paul.
No, definitely.
We're supposed to meet up in 2018 down in L.A. We didn't know if it was going to be the Clippers or the Lakers.
Right.
Now, what makes this interesting is things got so bad with the Clippers. I think Chris Paul was done with Doc Rivers, Blake Griffin, the whole situation.
There's a whole list of shenanigans down there.
So we still could
ridiculous.
see Chris Paul as a Laker just as soon as next year because this is only 1 year on the contract.
Yeah, let's keep our listeners in mind. He's a rental right now.
Yeah. LeBron James could go be a Laker.
I'm going to go ahead and
be a Laker. Paul George becomes a Laker.
LeBron James and Chris Paul are not going to the Lakers. LeBron James will never be a Los Angeles Laker. That's not. Well, that is not gonna. That is hype. That is hype. That is clickbait. That is material for.
Did you just use clickbait on this show? That's a first. Put that in the book, Pluto. He used clickbait.
Yeah. People headline LeBron James going to L.A. Lakers. LeBron James will never go to the Lakers. I'll put it down here. I will buy this whole show pizza and take him out to a movie.
People pizza.
Man, LeBron James is never going to the Lakers. Why would he go? It doesn't make any sense. Man.
I want to chime in on that because here's two things. I don't want to talk about LeBron right now.
I'm with you on that,
I want to talk about the fact that Chris Paul is now a Rocket, which puts him with James Harden.
How does that make sense?
Because here's the thing. D'Antoni's offense is so open that now you've got James Harden not necessarily having to handle the ball. Now he can come off screen.
But his best season was with the ball in his hands.
Correct, but now he's a true shooting guard. That's what he actually does well. So now you have a guy in Chris Paul who's going to take the main defender off of him, and you're now going to have to guard CP3 because of his versatility. The other thing that people are getting lost in all this, Paul, like I said, is a rental number one. The Clippers got valuable assets back for this guy. Everybody doesn't talk about the fact that Patrick Beverley is first-team all-defense almost every single year. He's not a scorer, but you got guys like DeAndre Jordan. You're going to have Jamal Crawford probably starting at the 2.
Jamal might not stay with the Clippers also.
Well, and that's true, but what I'm saying, their current roster as it sits, they got sweet Lou Williams. All the guy does is average 20 points a game every season. So it's one of those things where I don't really think that either team lost, but this is an experiment in Houston.
Wow. Hold on, Big Mike. You're going to tell me that, especially with the question you've posted on Facebook about Doc Rivers not needing to be a Clipper any longer.
Right.
This has to be the worst offseason so far to lose a player of Chris Paul's magnitude.
But wait a minute.
There's no way you could say, why do you think they sent 4 players for one person? Chris Paul was nice enough to let them. You got to understand the niceness of Chris Paul.
Well, no, because he let him get something back. He could have opted out, given him nothing.
Well, he let him know that he was.
No. But guys, this is what I'm getting to. I don't think Doc Rivers should still be the coach, but those assets they acquired.
He's not just the coach. That's the problem. Right. President of operations.
Well, but here's the other thing. They acquired a first-round pick next year as well, so they can build for the future. They got decent players back. It's not like the Paul George deal's a joke. That absolutely was Indiana giving up. You got Victor Oladipo and Sabonis' kid. That's not somebody you can build around. At least with Beverly, he's a perennial first-team, all-team defender. Lou Williams can score the rock, so if Jamal does leave, you're not going to be missing that production off the bench necessarily. Yeah. And then on top of that, look, Sam Decker is not a bad player.
Oh, here you go.
No. Listen to me.
Don't start it with Sam Decker. I was hoping that you weren't
No.
You just weakened your point so much by adding
Just
that.
listen to me real quick. This is a kid who still has potential, who you can work with. So, and you have the first-round pick. They didn't entirely lose, but the Rockets got the better end of the deal for now, for sure. I'm just saying that...
I mean, did the Rockets get the better end of the deal? If you lose Patrick Beverly, Chris Paul...
Well, Chris Paul was first-team all-defense, too.
No, you're not letting me finish. Chris Paul only stays with you 1 year. I don't believe this is a long-term move for Chris Paul at all.
Okay.
It makes absolutely no sense, like, you know, what people have been saying.
Right.
So if you lose Patrick Beverly for 1 year with Chris Paul, you could arguably say the Clippers got the better end of the deal. Because like I said, Chris Paul should have left and gave them nothing. Well, and he was so nice to opt in to be traded.
And honestly, I agree with that.
Just like what's going on with Paul George.
I agree with the sentiment that you have on that. But where I'm coming from, if this thing works out and they're running with the Warriors for the Western Conference at any point,
who's running with the Warriors?
If the Rockets,
Rockets still getting swept in 4.
No, hear me out.
What did Manny say?
Rockets still getting swept in 4 by
This
the
does
Warriors.
not. That's why it doesn't make sense. Chris Paul adding Chris Paul to the Rockets.
I'm not saying they will.
We need another piece, and that's what I'm interested to see what's happening. You know, as the free agent fever goes on.
Let me ask you a question:
Are the Rockets going to be able to attract another, not maybe top tier player, but that next level?
Well, as a Clippers fan, since this opens up enough room, do you think Gordon Hayward's a possibility?
No.
Well, see, now with Gordon Hayward, it's interesting because I'm sure that's one thing. If you would have kept Chris Paul, Gordon Hayward's coming to play for the Clippers, no problem.
He doesn't want to be the third scoring option on the Rockets.
No, he's talking about for the
I'm
Clippers.
talking about going to L.A.
Oh, going to the
Clippers?
Clippers?
Yeah.
No, I think he goes to the Celtics.
But the Clippers provide a very similar team to Utah, which is what made the series so good that they played against each other.
Yeah.
You got a DeAndre Jordan, just like Rudy Gobert. You got Patrick Beverly, similar to a George Hill, which is the main reason why, you know, Gordon Hayward lost. He left. They didn't want to re-sign Gordon Hill, so he was like, I'm done. And, you know, so when you got Blake Griffin, that upgrades you at the power forward. Honestly, the Clippers still is a nice fit for Gordon Hayward. I just don't know if they have enough money to offer him what he's commanding in this off market.
With the roster they have right now, I think it's very safe to say the Clippers will miss the playoffs next year. I don't think
Patrick Beverly, Blake Griffin, DeAndre, you can still come in 8th. Okay,
I'll give you they could come in 8th, but I'm saying as far as the prestige of fighting for the 5-4 spot, that's done.
I mean, who it really doesn't even matter right now because of the Warriors team they have. If you're not coming in number 2,
that's
me in
why
the Western
Chris Paul
Conference,
not going to the Spurs baffles the heck out of me.
Exactly, but the Spurs
baffles the heck out of me too.
Well, I told you the whole time why he's not playing for the Spurs.
Because of
LaMarcus Aldridge.
And funny enough that you said that, and then it came out that Chris Paul, part of the condition of him going to the Spurs, as you predicted, was he checked the status of LaMarcus Aldridge, and when he found out he was staying, there's no way he's going there.
There's no way you're going to play there because LaMarcus Aldridge is supposed to be a superstar. He's not playing at that level. He's not producing like he produced in Portland, even close on either end of the floor. So,
but if you're Chris, I mean, if I'm Chris Paul, I get that. But like, that sounds so cheesy. Like, if he could make LaMarcus Aldridge better, if he was a player who they're supposed
he
to,
just
he's
tried
supposed to
that.
be.
When he just tried that when he left New Orleans to come play with Blake. See, Blake, this is the whole reason why Chris came to play with Blake. So he literally just tried that. And he just saw how hard it is to make a grown man change his ways. So that is why even the whole time LaMarcus Aldridge
is different.
He doesn't even fit. LaMarcus Aldridge doesn't even fit the Spurs because he doesn't have that selfless. We all thought because he was quiet, he was like a humble guy. But when you saw last season, his biggest problem on the Spurs is I don't have the ball in my hands enough. And you got Kawhi Leonard, the best player, you know, both ways. You got Tony Parker. You got Pau Gasol. You got the Spurs in general. It's not about one person dominating the ball. It's all about movement. So they found out LaMarcus Aldridge is not even a good fit for the Spurs. We thought just because he's quiet he was. And nobody really knew this about his personality until he got down there in San Antonio. So, like, I knew it. I mean, it makes no sense. Chris Paul is such a great point guard. He knows how to – he's a floor general. And if you have that guy standing on your floor, I wouldn't want to play with that.
Well, and
no athleticism.
And I agree with that. I think that time will tell on this trade. Obviously, like anything else, you got to wait and see how the season plays out and everything else.
But okay, so on Houston Rockets, you got Chris Paul. You got James Harden. You got my boy Clint Capella.
Okay.
Bringing at the spot. Those 3 positions I really like. Now, in your starting lineup, who is really coming in at that third and fourth spot is your problem for the Rockets. Not to mention when you get to the bench, you have even more holes. So this is we'll see what happens. They got to draw some players in this. I don't think this is gonna work for the Rockets.
You got Andre Iguodala on the
table.
else. Yeah, unless they get somebody like this. This move makes perfect sense if somebody else.
If they have another one lined up.
If another one's lined up, if Andre Iguodala comes, or a piece comes, then it makes sense. But to me, if this team plays this next season as is, like. To me,
I don't even know if they make the playoffs.
I don't understand how they like. I can name a couple teams that they would lose to, more than a couple teams that they lose to.
Well, and transitioning from the Rockets and the Clippers to another Western Conference team
that doesn't make sense to me.
Who got probably the biggest Christmas present in July ever. Technically, it was in June, but with the Thunder getting Paul George, I mean that's incredible. The Pacers give up Victor Oladipo and Sabonis. They don't even really give up anybody who they're planning probably on building around ever. And you add
they saved money.
And you add Paul George to Russell Westbrook. And I think the element of this that gets missed, and I think this is the most interesting part of this, I think it's because Russell Westbrook went to Sam Presti and said, okay, I did all that with no help. Now go find me somebody. And you know what? And I think that Paul George was the perfect fit for one reason. Because Paul George is a rental, the Pacers would have taken anything to get. This is what happens when a superstar puts you in a corner. And you end up having this gut punch of, I'm not coming back next year, you better trade me. But what I want to understand from the Pacers' perspective is this. Why in the world are Victor Oladipo and Sabonis better than Kevin Love?
Or first-round pick from the Celtics.
Cleveland is not taking that. Paul George basically said, I want to go play for the Lakers.
No, he absolutely wants to be a Laker.
It makes no sense for Cleveland to give up anybody for that 1 year. It's the same thing with Chris Paul. These two players are in unique positions together. And who knows if Chris Paul and Paul George are the ones that's going to plan to meet back up in L.A.
Right.
So you have a lot of interesting things. 2018 is going to be very interesting. This season it's also good. I like the OKC Thunder. I think this move immediately catapults them into that 4 or 5 spot that the Clippers just fell out of.
Well, I would agree with that, and I would tend to and see, here's what's going to happen next year that couldn't happen this last year. You can no longer double team Russell Westbrook coming down the floor because now Paul George, who is an excellent shooter, excellent defender, just an excellent basketball player in general, is now his right-hand man, and you're going to now have a problem.
Right before the show started, we had Maddie with the teasing of the Rudy Gay coming to play for OKC. Rudy, with those three, I mean, you're the third spot in the West.
If Rudy Gay goes to OKC, that team becomes very formidable. Now,
third spot in the West.
Even if they have to give up Cantor.
If they
all day,
I don't believe in Enes Kanter as much as everybody else, because here's the thing: if Enes Kanter was that good, Enes Kanter would be starting at the 4 and not coming off the bench. Yeah. So it's one of those things where, look, I understand people really like Kanter. Yes, he's a good player. He's a hard-nosed player. I like all those things. But my point is
he's too limited, and he doesn't play no defense.
But this speaks to the greatness of the Warriors. With these moves, Oklahoma City isn't even close to Golden State. Yeah. They're still light years away from challenging anything the Warriors are going to do.
Now, see, I tend to heavily disagree with you on that one. If you have Rudy Gay, Russell Westbrook, and Paul George coming in that starting lineup, Steven Adams anchoring your defense at the 5.
Okay.
You add a couple veterans to that mix, they're definitely challenging the Warriors for that spot in the West.
You are okay. So let me ask you a question: 7-game series.
Look what Russell Westbrook did by himself.
Yeah, he lost in 5 games to the Rockets.
No. I'm talking about the whole year. This body of work that just earned him the MVP.
I'm not arguing.
He did
his MVP.
It by himself. And he has even more this year. He's going to come back with more fire because of all this Kevin Durant talk that we've seen since.
Okay, so
we're going to see even another level from Russell Westbrook that we haven't seen in past years. So let me give you something
right now. If they get Rudy Gay, and let's say they get a formidable 2, they get somebody who can play shooting guard. If they play the Warriors in a best of 7, how many games and who wins? If they're both fully healthy, nobody's hurt.
Fully stocked, and we're going a 7-game series. I'm taking it all the way down to Game 7, and I'm flipping the coin for the 7th game.
No way.
Okay. All right. No, look. Hey, look. Even if he's wrong, it's his opinion. What do you got, Manny?
Can Paul George play defense?
Oh, without a doubt. He's one of the better defenders at his position.
And Westbrook?
Westbrook's one of the best defenders at point guard.
Westbrook is killer on defense.
And Steven Adams. And if those three can play defense,
Rudy Gay is not a slouch on the defensive end either.
But they don't have him yet.
Well,
so
that's what we're talking about.
But it's a hypothetical if they have him.
Rudy Gay is in the mix, not without Rudy Gay, but Rudy Gay in the mix.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think he's lost a step though with that Achilles injury?
But look, it doesn't matter. Look at the starting five.
All right.
So you got Russell at the point, Steph Curry.
Yeah.
That's going to cancel each other out. To me, Steven Adams.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Steven Adams is a win at the 5.
Well, yes, because he's guarding Pachulia. That's always win.
Saying, but that's what we're talking about. Steven Adams is a win at the 5.
Okay, so fine.
At the 4, Rudy Gay going against Draymond. I'm still taking Rudy Gay.
Yeah, but who guards Kevin Durant?
Or even Paul George at the 4, like you were saying.
Then who guards Clay?
He would move down.
Paul George at the 4.
Then who guards Clay?
Winning.
Well, okay, and I get where you're going with this conversation, and I'm not saying that
starting 5 is better.
But I'm telling you right now, the Warriors literally tore through the NBA, the best the NBA had to offer all season. They went undefeated in the Western Conference playoffs, and the West is considerably better than the East, and there's not many people who would disagree with that.
Kawhi was injured.
But you're
oh no, and that's always going to be overlooked. But Manny, that's a great point.
This is a reconfiguration. Everybody is
but
now
it's all
building
what if
teams.
right now.
I know, especially because that game 1 they were up
to stop the Warriors from tearing through people like that. And honestly, a team with a Rudy Gay, Adams, Westbrook, and your boy Paul George, to me, that is very formidable for the
there's
Warriors.
no disagreement coming from me. I'm just telling you that a team that just went 16-1 and they're going to do nothing but get better, that's going to be really hard for somebody to beat.
Well, we don't know if they're getting better because Andre Iguodala is leaving. Andre Iguodala not being on the Warriors is going to be much more than people think.
Buddy, I wouldn't even take that away from you, period. What I'm saying is their 4 best players are better than anybody else's 4 best players.
Not when you do that OKC team we're talking about right now.
You don't take the Warriors' best 4 over OKC?
Only position you're with it at. We don't know who the 2 is, so we can't speculate on that.
Well, Clay's going to pretty much D anybody up and shoot the lights out on anyone.
At the 3 spot, Rudy Gay has been proven a good defender on Kevin Durant throughout his whole career.
Now, let me ask you a question, though. I want to bring up I want to ask the Rudy Gay question, though. Why are you taking him over an all-NBA guy like Draymond? I think Draymond's overrated to a certain extent, but I want to ask you a question. Why is Rudy Gay the guy you're picking on and taking – because Draymond can shoot the ball and he's a nasty defender.
But Draymond is going to give you 3 to 7 points a game. Rudy Gay is a 20-point scorer.
Not against Draymond.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. With that offense,
not as a third option and guarded by Draymond.
The Warriors have had the luxury of having people that you can't come off of.
If you have Paul George and Westbrook, Rudy Gay is your third option at best. And if he's being guarded
you can't leave Rudy Gay open anywhere on the floor. Anywhere.
But here's where
you can't leave Paul George open anywhere on the floor. Here's where I'm going to agree with both of you. You can't leave Russell Westbrook open anywhere on the floor.
Actually, Russell I would leave open before the other 2 because Russell's shooting percentage is awful.
It doesn't matter. Big shot.
Buddy,
he's going to hit it.
Buddy, I'm not disagreeing that he won't hit a big shot. I'm telling you that
Russell Westbrook... Are you really going to leave Russell Westbrook open? If you're guarding Russell Westbrook...
Buddy, are you going to leave Paul George or Russell Westbrook open? Which one?
Neither one.
Let me just take that. Let me take that forward.
Go ahead.
It's the same thing.
Go ahead, Manny.
Okay, so if it's Steph at 1 and Clay's at 2...
You can't.
Clay can lock down Paul George.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And not only that, but Draymond locks down
That's what I love.
Rudy Gay. If Rudy Gay goes.
That's what I love about this show. Like, we're literally arguing about stuff that hasn't happened yet.
That's sports. That's sports in general.
But hey, listen, I want to thank everybody right now. We do have to cut to a break real quick. But
before we cut to that break, you give me another team with this hypothetical situation that can challenge the Warriors as good as these new OKC with the addition of Rudy Gay.
What if Carmelo goes to the Rockets?
Buddy, I'm not.
That's very interesting.
I'm not saying. Look, I'm not saying that OKC can't challenge.
I'm just telling you, give me another team that looks better.
Buddy, right now I can't because.
Well, now we can go to break.
If Nene, yeah, I can. I can when we come back. When we come back, I can give you some.
Now we can go to break.
Anybody. So.
Okay, sounds good. All right, we'll go to a break.
Anyway, so right now we're going to go to a break, and obviously we want to thank everybody, all of our affiliates on CWMPNation.com. You can check it out there. We are on Not By Bread Alone, Power 102.1 FM, the Roku and TuneIn apps. You can also check us out live stream Facebook and YouTube. And thanks again to our special guest, Manny Tarsus. We will be right back, CWMP, on a Saturday night in Mission Viejo. We'll be right back, everybody.
And we'll be listening to Manny Tarsus and The Good Fight. Emmanuel. Sorry. To his personal buddies, he's Manny.
Yeah, well, you talk to me, it's Manny.
Yeah. All right.
But when you plug,
yes, sir.
It's Emmanuel
and this
Tarsus.
Is the good Fight.
I need to have Big Mike do a drop for me. Hey, you're listening to Emmanuel Tarsus on Chicken Wings and Pizza.
I can do it right now.
No, it's okay. We're going to a break now. This is Emmanuel Tarsus and The Good Fight.
Power of lost and found clothing.
You gotta listen to, oh my God, it's like when they break in and Stevie Marcellus Wiley, he's like, what brings me to my next thing? And he just like talks about like the sofas that he's selling or whatever.
No. But I can't take Rudy Gay over Drake. I never could.
Well, that's what I'm saying. 3 or 4.
It wouldn't be without you, God. I couldn't be without you. Couldn't live, couldn't breathe without you. It wouldn't be without you, God. I couldn't be without you. Couldn't live, couldn't breathe without you. What if a soldier gets wounded in the war? What if you did what you did but ain't get no award? Would you still do what you do? What for? Sometimes I get so lonely. I look around and nobody's there. It's how it goes, homie. I need the Lord on me. We gon' be alright. It's what the Lord told me. It's what the Lord told me. Yeah, so I keep my head up like I'm looking at the clouds. Never seen a bright side, but I'm looking at it now. How can I smile when I'm looking at a frown? I hold it down for my dog, still living at the pound. Sometimes I ask God why bad things happen. The storms outside, Lord, why you napping? That he wakes up and says my faith's lacking. You could have faith, but your faith needs action. It wouldn't be without you, God. I couldn't be without you. Couldn't live, couldn't breathe without you. Now that I'm a little bit older, I realize the world ain't on my shoulders. I realize it's cool if I fall over. I'm gonna get hit if I'm a soldier. You're gonna get hit if you're in the war. And you're in the war if you're with the Lord. But if you're in the word, then you got a sword. If you trust in the Lord, then you're gonna soar. You're gonna mount up on wings like eagles. You wanna reach the promised land, let God lead you. I'll play Moses if we need a sequel. I'll walk up to Trump and say, free my people. It wouldn't be without you, God. I couldn't be without you. Couldn't live, couldn't breathe without you. Sometimes I don't wanna face the day. Sometimes I don't feel good enough to pray. I get discouraged and I don't know what to say to a perfect God with my imperfect way. How can I sit here and kneel to a king? Praise God with my hands raised and dance when I sing. I tell God I love him when I'm in need. But when I think I don't need God, it's all about me. But he knew I wasn't perfect when he died for me. He knows I'm gonna fall when I'm called out to sea. I'm gonna deny him more times than 3. But he tells me he loves me and won't ever leave. I've had those days that I feel insane. I'm feeling lost, can't find my way. I still feel chains cause guilt and shame holds me down till I kneel and pray. Till I trust in God and I trust his face. When I deal with pain, I'm still gon' praise. He'll heal that pain, he removes these stains. He saved my life, now my whole life changed. It's okay, I'm here to say that. Don't give up if you face days that's bad. If you fall down, just get back up. And if you can't, put both hands up. Surrender it all, let God heal you. If you can't fight, let God shield you. If you break down, he'll rebuild you. If you want empty, let God fill you. It wouldn't be without you, God. I couldn't be without you. Couldn't live, couldn't breathe without you. Battle tested, war wounds. Sometimes my heart's still feeling bruised. It's okay, cause sometimes we lose. We can grow, but we all need room. So give yourself room to make mistakes. If you aim for perfection, you gon' break. Gotta walk through the jungle, watch out for the snakes. Trust God to put the right amount on your plate. If you can't finish, then you ain't trust God. And if you hate people, then you can't love God. They say I can't do it, but I'll take those odds. They could break me, but they can't break God. It wouldn't be without you, God. I couldn't be without you. Couldn't live, couldn't breathe without you. It wouldn't be without you, God. I couldn't be without you. Couldn't live, couldn't breathe without you.
What's up, family? You are back live. Another edition of Chicken Wings and Pizza Christian Sports Radio. Very delicious. CWPNation.com, the beautiful FYI studios out here in Mission Viejo, California.
I thought you were calling me beautiful. I was actually very flattered.
No, actually, this show, we have our awesome producer, Hugo Drax, my co-host, Biff. My co-host, Biff from Back to the Future.
And Eddie Lacy, ladies and
yours
gentlemen.
truly, Eddie Lacy on the mic.
Get an amen.
Amen.
And don't forget our special guest over here, Emmanuel Tarsus, man, the owner of Lost and Found Clothing.
And that's at lostandfoundclothing.
You just listened to some of his music. Pretty good song. Pluto, were you involved in that song at all? I don't know.
No, but there's some new Emmanuel stuff coming out.
Me and Pluto met post that record.
Right.
Okay.
Generally, if Pluto's involved, it's not a hit.
Actually,
I love you, Pluto.
Actually, I will speak for the truth tellers, as this is a Christian show. As soon as Pluto gets on your project,
it becomes a hit.
That's an instant upgrade.
CWP's a hit.
Let me just
from myself.
CWP's a hit, and he produces it.
Hey,
But what happened when he wasn't producing it?
It was still a hit.
I'm just saying, we got much better. And,
did.
my Christian rap music got much better when I got in the studio with my boy.
Oh,
Pluto.
yeah.
So that's called an instant upgrade.
And
It's kind of like signing LeBron James to the roster. We're going to the championship.
So I got
I posted just a basic video with Mike's beat, with Project Pluto's beat. It got 6,000 views.
He said your government name on the radio.
Hey, it's okay because the people
witness
who follow us on
the
people who follow us on Facebook are gonna know.
Anyways,
so Manny, you had a really good point actually.
Hold on real quick.
Go ahead.
We're still coming back from our break. We can't forget about everybody.
Well, tell them who everybody
is.
We
got whipped up by Whitney, man. The best delicacies you could get.
Please don't sing the Backstreet Boys. I should be ashamed. I know where that beat's from and the melody.
I just wanted to expose.
You're not the only
Big
one.
Mike over
Unless
here.
you're one of these new millennials, you're gonna know that song. That was hot. Anyway, we're also sponsored by Cloud Crew 417
You are a millennial.
Clothing. Wow.
Well, you are.
It's past Mike's bedtime, so we're going to go ahead and sign him off for today so he can make it home and get that rest that he needs. But, it's a great time to be in the show. Where we at, Big Mike?
So, Manny, why don't you go ahead and speak to your point? We were discussing OKC, their additions versus the Warriors.
I don't want to hear that. I know what I want to hear.
No.
Hold on, Mike.
I want to hear his scenario.
We don't have him for much longer. I know what I want to hear about first.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, Kobe's the greatest Laker of all time.
We're going to talk
Kobe
about
Bryant's the greatest Laker of all time.
We're going to talk about the Lakers, even though Magic is clearly. How
Kobe
do
Bryant
you
is the best Laker of all
feel
time.
being a Laker fan? I really want to know this from
great.
a real Laker fan about Lonzo Ball taking you all to the playoffs in his first year at bat.
First of all, I don't know if I'm able to show tattoos, but you can see them already. Laker tattoo right here. Live and die.
Wow,
Lakers.
so obviously you're a fan of Lonzo Ball? I didn't say LeVar.
I'm gonna be 100% honest. The way that I saw him lose to Kentucky last year,
we all saw that.
Made me. I'm not like when they were losing to Kentucky. I just felt like Lonzo was just like, I'm going to the Lakers next year anyways, or I'm getting top 3 draft pick next year anyway. So, and he to me it just felt like he had. To me, it seems like he has no fire, no passion. It seems like if his team's down 15 points in the fourth quarter, he's giving up and he doesn't care because he's making money. Like, that's not the type of player that I want on my team. Like, I want a Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant type of guy who has fire, a Russell Westbrook. Like, I want that tenacity. I want that fire. I want that passion to where their eyes are locked in. They got that look like I'm down 15, but like the Lakers against the Trailblazers. Remember that,
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So
That's one of the
Kobe
best
and Shaq,
comebacks
and
in playoff history.
So do you think Lonzo Ball is going to do what his daddy said? You know,
Man,
crazy
I am
LeVar, and take y'all back to the playoffs where you've been absent for the past few seasons.
Look,
We went here.
I'm starting.
I had a perfectly good show written out, and we went here. My God.
I'm starting to with the way that things are piecing together, I am starting to believe in magic, pun intended.
Please do not.
I'm starting
don't
to
go
believe
there.
in the magic.
Do you believe in magic? Oh, sorry. Thought it was a shower for a minute. There we go.
So we just went from the okay, but anyway, so I'm sorry if you put a piece. I feel like we're one piece away. If you add a Paul George or you add somebody else to come in along that, but I'm starting to really like this. To be honest, this is kind of funny, but like a scenario that I made up in my own wishful thinking head was, trading Randall and some draft picks to the Clippers for Blake Griffin and getting Blake Griffin to play with Lonzo Ball.
Blake Griffin will never wear the purple and gold.
Yeah, well, I know that's why I said it was my own dream, but I feel like we just need somebody to jump in, because Lonzo's not unless Brook Lopez emerges from.
I can't believe you just said that.
That's what I said.
I'm going to jump in here. He just mentioned Brook Lopez in a positive
forgot
light.
Brook Lopez was even on the Lakers now.
Hold on a second. I want to chime in here as a non-Laker or Clipper fan. My team just stinks.
You know who his team is,
the
right,
Phoenix
Maddie?
Suns, yes. They're terrible.
Steve Nash. That's all I got to say.
I grew up in Phoenix,
Hey, you
dude.
see what Steve Nash did to the Lakers? $42 million for a broke back.
Yeah,
and he robbed Kobe of the MVP.
Hey, but I do want to bring this up though. So you talk about Lonzo Ball, and I brought this up to you before the show, and I keep saying this is a point with the Lakers. Who's going to do the scoring? Because Lonzo's the distributor. That's what they brought him in to be.
Oh, I know who's going to do it.
If they start Clarkson,
Luol Deng.
No,
I'm asking a serious question. No,
Clarkson. If they move Clarkson to starting at 2, Clarkson could do scoring. If Ingram continues to Brandon Ingram's 5 years younger than the Rookie of the Year.
Do you really feel like, though, because I watched Brandon Ingram play all last
Larry
year.
Nance, yeah.
Larry Nance can show up.
That's what I'm actually bringing up. Because I don't think Brandon Ingram's the guy with all the potential that everybody seems to think. I actually think Larry Nance Jr.
is Larry Nance.
Way more like his potential's locked down, and once he opens up, he's gonna by far be the most improved player on that team.
And he's headstrong,
without question.
And he's motivated. He's passionate.
Who?
I love Larry Nance. That's why I'd be okay trading Julius Randle.
But let me ask you, as a true Laker fan, did you like the pick of Lonzo Ball, or would you rather have seen a guy who plays really good defense like De'Aaron Fox?
I wanted De'Aaron Fox.
Or I want to go another direction. So I'm kind of giving a two-part question. So you want De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
Would you have rather seen them draft Josh Jackson, who's arguably the best player in the draft?
Not after what Josh Jackson did to the Celtics and made Danny Ainge fly across the United States and then decide not to do his workout. Like, I don't want that type of player on my team at all. I really hope Josh Jackson fails in the NBA, and I think he will because his attitude is wrong. But De'Aaron Fox, like the way that he tore Lonzo Ball up in the NCAA bracket, like that was just beautiful to watch. Some guy like Lonzo Ball who has all the hype, everybody's talking about him, everybody's bigging him up, and then De'Aaron Fox, he just comes in and just demolishes him like.
39 points to 10 people. It wasn't close.
And he's not afraid. He wasn't afraid to go out. He's like, okay, bring this beast. Look, watch what I do. And then when he lost, when they lost and he was in the locker room crying, like that's the type of player I want on my team. Somebody who's going to do everything it takes to win. Like I wanted him way more than Lonzo, man. I'm not even... Trust me, I'm not
wasted the number 2 pick with that Lonzo Ball. Total waste of a number 2 pick.
I don't know. If you say Magic Johnson is the greatest Laker of all time, he's one of the, arguably top three.
I got 2 words for that one, Maddie.
What?
Phil Jackson.
Well, wow. Anyway, I'm not
Phil
bringing.
Jackson.
Speaking,
player, great coach, horrible general manager.
Well, he was the president, but that's not
Same
the point.
thing.
Yeah, front office. Period. This is what I want to get to. You're a passionate Laker fan. That's obvious. How many years before they honestly make the playoffs? I mean, honestly, not a fabrication of a Laker fan.
Three at most.
Okay. I can accept that because they're going to have to get way better. And with the Western Conference literally having every all-star.
Especially with the 2018.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Hey, Pluto, is the stream okay over here? We got somebody checking in saying the stream is not working.
So
yeah, I say the Lakers will make the playoffs by, give or take 3 years. Especially, man, like, dude, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody on the Warriors. I wouldn't be surprised if there's we're all talking about all these contracts.
What
and
about
everything.
Andre Iguodala coming to the Lakers?
That would be amazing. See,
Dude,
that's
you
the
said
type.
Warriors. That's all I thought. Dollar Boy on the Lakers. Oh boy.
See, Andre Iguodala. That's the type of player that look. Andre Iguodala, when they won the first finals with the Warriors, and his teammates, they weren't playing up to their names, and he comes in and says, "All right, I got this," and he's the type of player who gives it everything he has, who fights for it. He digs deep and finds that beast inside of him and plays. That's the type of player, and his veteran leadership. That's something that we need, not from Brook Lopez and not from Luol Deng. We need some veteran leadership from
Brook Lopez. Is not even a leader. Like, that's such a
but it's like who else are we going to get?
They just wanted to dump Mozgov contract.
The thing I do like about Brook Lopez, though, that people aren't really talking about is the fact that he's a LA County kid and he's been a Laker fan his whole life, and so being a Laker fan and wanting to play for the Lakers, that's something that just gives you a little bit of a desire to play harder.
That's an interesting point, especially with the Lopez, like Brook Lopez, because he's awesome on offense, somewhat of a liability on defense, but if he comes and plays like what you're talking about, supercharged just to be back on the Lakers.
Yeah, his home, your favorite team was the Lakers.
Yeah,
your favorite
that'd
team
be
is the Suns.
awesome.
If you got to play, or what's whatever your favorite football team is, like if you're in a situation
That's
that
awesome.
you can do that charges you up, as opposed to somebody going to some team,
If you have Brook Lopez with Andre Iguodala and Paul George next year, that's playoffs in 2018.
Yep.
So speaking of teams or players that might be changing teams, you brought up an interesting point about Carmelo Anthony right before the break when it came to the Rockets.
Why
don't you
doesn't
go ahead and
Melo
share
come
that?
play for the Lakers?
We don't want Melo. He's a virus.
Wow. Anyway,
that's what I always say. He loves Melo. I feel the same way.
What do you think about? Share your thought with the audience about the him going to the Rockets. How do you think that plays?
If Nene stays with Chris Paul, if Melo could be Olympic Melo, and he could do what he did on the Olympic team, and he doesn't have to have the ball in his hands every time down the floor, and he could just execute and embrace his role as not the best player on the team, then I think that the Rockets can actually do something, and I think that would be a good fit with him out there on the wing, allowing Chris Paul to create, allowing James Harden to create, and then feed it off to Melo, and they're gonna have to double team somebody. That'll leave Melo open, that'll leave Harden open, and then you have Nene down low. I think that that's a better fit than.
So Melo plays the 3
or 4. I mean, are there even
three more or less?
Are there even positions in the NBA anymore?
Well, see, I like what you were saying. I thought about it, and that's why I said so. Melo, basically, you would have Nene coming off the bench because you can't have both Melo and Nene at the 3 and 4. But say you got James Harden, Chris Paul, Melo, Clint Capella. You can slide in anybody at that 4 or 3 spot.
Right.
And Nene coming off the bench makes your bench so much stronger. That's obvious. That's honestly a nice team.
I'm gonna interject on this though. I don't think Houston would be able to stick with the Warriors enough to even worry about them competing if Melo is your addition. Dude, Melo can shoot, but Melo doesn't play defense to save his life.
Well, the Rockets don't play defense, so that's not really
no.
too
But
far
I'm
for
saying,
the Rockets.
but I'm saying if we're talking about the addition being Carmelo Anthony, it doesn't give them any extra
but
defensive
the Rockets'
prowess.
philosophy is all outscoring.
Oh, D'Antoni's
So
their
Melo
coach, of
fits
course.
that system perfect because he can still drive, he can hit the 3. That's D'Antoni's philosophy.
Fair
and
enough.
When you have a Clint Capella and you got James Harden and Chris Paul both can drive and hit the 3. So if you throw anybody in at that 3rd spot, let alone a Hayward, Melo takes a big price cut. Your Houston Rockets will be your next NBA champions.
Let's say Melo
Yeah.
goes to Houston and all the additions to OKC just happened that you brought up, who do you think has a better shot to challenge Golden State for the title in the West?
I'll go Rockets with that one, definitely, because you got Chris Paul over there.
All right, fair enough. So
don't
Don't bet against Chris Paul. He's a dog in the trenches.
Don't forget Trevor Ariza.
Okay, yeah, no, he's overlooked too many times.
Because he's up and down, up and down. Like
But-
if T Reza is your third, and you got Melo,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
And
3-4. Yeah, that's interesting.
But look how Ariza played.
very
Look how
interesting.
Ariza played with Kobe. Like if Ariza, like I feel like he rose up and Kobe just brought the best out of him and got him to play.
Chris
and
Paul
fight.
can do that for T Reza.
Yes, that's exactly my
Chris
point.
Paul can do that.
If Chris Paul and Carmelo Anthony with James Harden, Trevor Ariza, Capella,
I
like
forgot about Trevor on
Nene
that team.
off the bat, like
Everybody does
then,
for some reason.
I
then
forgot,
it's
man.
nasty. But like without, like that's what I'm saying. Without that,
That actually makes more sense for Chris Paul even going down there. I forgot about Trevor Ariza.
Well, the one thing I will say is this. In the Western Conference and in the NBA, the only thing anybody should be concerned about is taking down Golden State. And right
So
now...
what you got to do is pray for injury. That's all you got.
Wow, that's not something you normally want to pray for.
but you think about it. You think
That
about
sounds
it.
Christian.
I mean, look what happened.
That's
with,
all you got. Look at. I mean, you
That-
got Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson. That's the three best
the only
scorers
thing
in the
that
league.
could happen is injury, because that's what happened with the Lakers when they had GP and Karl Malone. Like everybody was afraid of that. Karl Malone goes down for like 70 games almost.
That's what happened.
Jumps back in the playoffs, can't function. Like I think if there's an injury to the Warriors, and that is so, especially because
Especially
Kevin
if he
Durant.
does-
that's
Dollar
about
boy.
the only chance anybody has.
Durant already got hurt. Like he's flimsy.
And here's the scary part about the Warriors, though. When Durant was out with that leg injury,
Still
they
steamrolling.
lost one game.
Still steamrolling. But
Out
that's
of
because
20.
that's
But
because
that
you
was
had,
before
that's 'cause
the
you
super
had people-
teams.
That's because you had Dollar Boy on the team.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Andre
and
Iguodala
be-
leaving is going to be very big for the Warriors. I mean, I don't know if people are really missing the point of that was your Finals MVP
I
when
don't
you won
think
your
they're
first chip.
I think what people need to understand about Iguodala is this. Iguodala, when he was younger with the 76ers, for you youngsters listening who might not know, Iguodala was LeBron James and Kevin Durant before they were
Yep.
even in the league. And he was ridiculous. He was jumping out of the gym. He could hit threes and play defense.
And that was the Warriors lost only one game because these baby super teams hadn't arose yet. Like
Yeah,
there were
there's-
no
there's a
Houston
whole
Rockets,
new landscape
there were
for
no
Warriors to look
Oklahoma
at.
City Thunder with Paul George. There weren't those new super teams emerging.
Well, and here's what's going to happen next year because the NBA was dang near unwatchable this
I
year.
know. Oh, yeah.
Here's the thing. You are literally looking at, when we're talking about these teams, you're literally talking about 7 teams that are going to be competitive.
Which would
And
be great in the playoffs.
and everybody else is going to be absolutely on the
Trash.
bottom of the
and
pile.
how many teams how many players out of the top 15 play in the West, Mike?
13 out of 15, according to ESPN, based on last year's top 15 players in the league. And you can debate that list all you want, but the
Still.
point made, 13 of the top 15 players in the league play in the West. And I want to make a
That
point.
means that's one team
I wa-
right there.
I wanna
right?
make
Your
a
roster
point
could be
right here.
13. That's a team of players.
LeBron James at this point has no excuse not to get to the finals because the East is literally
No.
the JV
It's too
league
easy.
With Paul,
of the NBA's too.
no
question.
It's the NBA rank. So with Paul George moving west, only one of the top 14 players in last year's NBA
They had
rank will
Kyrie.
be in the.
Well,
They
you
had
said
Kyrie at 15.
15 makes Kyrie.
So Kyrie, and isn't it interesting that the 2 top players in the East
Play on the
Cavs?
That's why LeBron has an easy road to the finals again.
Well, but see, here's the thing. And if Boston gets Gordon Hayward, which is altogether a very real possibility, I don't think it's as much as a cakewalk as everybody thinks it is because Jason Tatum's nice. He's going to add a lot of depth to that team. They already have Avery
just
Bradley.
a rookie, though.
I understand, but I'm just saying.
You know what I think they should do for the All-Star
Toronto
game?
Raptors is about to get worse because they losing Kyle Lowry.
Oh,
The
no.
East is getting easier. Paul George left.
You know what they should do for the All-Star game? They should have fans vote their the best players. They should let fans vote their favorite players, and then I know that maybe the regular NBA fan won't like this, but they should do something like what the Pro Bowl did with football and have the NBA vote their favorite players or the best players, have the fans vote them, and then they play against each other. So have West players versus West players.
Well, that's how the whole playoff should be. Let's not have
like the NCAA.
Separate, whoever the top 16 teams is, y'all go at it.
Yes, that would be. Thank you.
They will have more interesting games.
Yeah, it would definitely be more interesting. So, just a couple quick things to get to before we hit our second break. I did want to bring up the fact that there's a couple ridiculous contracts that have been signed in the last 24 hours. Drew Holiday, who I respect as a point guard, he actually was pretty good at UCLA and has been a pretty decent pro.
You're not going to respect him when you hear this, folks.
5 years, $126 million. That is $25.2 million a year for a guy who's never even been to the All-Star game.
If you are a parent,
How much did he average last year?
Raise your child up to play basketball because they are just handing out money.
Last year?
No, please share the knowledge with us, sir.
I was just wondering. I'm about to do me some little
Okay,
research.
so you do the research. I'm going to read off another one. J.J. Redick, 1 year, $23 million from the 76ers.
You have got to be kidding.
Then, on top of that, well played, sir. Steph Curry, of course, who's a two-time MVP, two-time champ, regardless of how you feel about him. 5 years, $201 million. He is the first player to receive the Supermax. Well, that's a new contract for him. So the first player to get the Supermax.
Ever go over $200 million.
Yeah, it
That's
could go
the
from
first-
LeBron James said that Steph Curry should get $4 million for 5 years.
Well, in all honesty, LeBron's worth about $500 million to Dan Gilbert for a 5-year contract. So you can put prices on these guys all you want. But
I will say the J.J. Redick signing to me is absolutely crazy.
I don't think it's as crazy as you and I were talking about, though, because when you think about what they're getting with Redick, they need an experience, too. That's all they need out of it.
You're paying a guy $20 million who doesn't come through for you.
They just paid Drew Holiday, who's averaged 25
I know that.
in New
But
Orleans.
He's not coming through you in the playoffs. We saw that through his Clippers career.
Well, yeah.
Before that, with the Milwaukee Bucks and the Magic, he was average player.
Yeah, they're
and
just
now you're
money.
paying this guy $20 million plus for 1 year. And it's only because of what you're talking about that they're wasting that kind of money, because there is people know a lot about the salary cap, but there's also a minimum that you have to spend.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have a team full of rookies,
you got to spend
and nobody
money.
wants to come play the Sixers, and you got a guy out there who might hit a couple threes for you, you can waste the $20 million.
That's a good point about the minimum. I forgot about that.
And it's very nice
You
that
can
you brought
waste
that
it.
up, because when you think about who their great players are right now, Ben Simmons,
Rookie
Joel
contracts.
Embiid,
All rookie.
and Markelle Fultz.
All under rookie
all
contracts.
under rookie deals.
Saric, another great, piece of their future. All under rookie contracts.
All rookie team, too.
So you go waste $20 million on a guy like JJ Redick.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, you're gonna get some floor leadership
Right.
for this $20 million and some locker room leadership. I'm not sure JJ Redick is that guy that you want young guys learning from, which is another reason why you're wasting your money.
It's kind of like washing your car. You can wash your car by yourself for free, maybe
Yeah.
a couple dollars from the store buying some products. You can wash your car for free, but if you got the money, you're
First
gonna
car washing analogy on CWP.
But if
Manny.
you got the money to use, you're gonna take it to a hand wash spot that
But-
vacuums and shampoos your
But
your
the
seats.
difference between the hand wash spot and JJ Redick is at least you can see yourself at the end of your car washing. JJ Redick has been a mess his entire career.
And my point exactly. You're
And
paying
he
a guy
is
who's
not worth that kind of
So
money.
basically, what you're saying is you pay that guy that's on the corner who wants with the Windex
I would pay a guy
bottle.
to wash my windshield before I paid
That's
JJ
exactly
Redick
what I'm saying.
$23 million.
JJ Redick is the guy with a Windex bottle saying, "Can I wash your windshield?"
Oh,
but you're
God.
paying
The
him.
Windex
But
guy.
you're paying him a luxury detailing job.
But one
so
thing,
that's the problem.
But one thing I will say is this, fellas, and I know that these numbers are ridiculous.
Drew
but
Holiday only scored 15 points,
we
3 rebounds, and 7 assists.
Well,
And
we
you're
got
a point guard.
We have to remember something.
You
though.
at least gotta average 9 assists
all
to
these
make that kind of
crazy
money.
numbers that we always bring up. Honestly, these are only going to get worse because the salary cap's going up.
I'm trying to think who just
You're-
got 3 years, $50 million, and they don't even play like hard. I'm like, I'll
Well,
remember
and I'll tell you this:
It's ridiculous.
Blake Griffin getting 5 years, 173.
What are you getting paid for? Punching guys,
being a
and
Phoenix,
being injured
being
every
a Phoenix
playoffs?
Suns fan. Phoenix was one of the teams he was rumored to really like. In the groups that I'm in and the chat rooms that I talk in and all the share in and whatnot, everybody said if you're paying him that kind of money, keep him. because he's not worth 173
Nobody else is going to pay that.
And here's the thing. Blake Griffin, if you look at his record, he has literally spent more time in the emergency room over the past 3 seasons than he has on the court.
So he's running up medical bills on top of his salary.
Correct. It's because Steve Ballmer's got so much money, he doesn't know what to do with it all. And when you lost Chris Paul, if you lost Blake too, you'd instantly be in rebuilding mode, and they can't have that. And DeAndre Jordan doesn't play offense well enough.
I love the
DeAndre Jordan might not even make it through this offseason. So you got Blake Griffin and Patrick Beverly.
Yeah, I guess
that's true. You're playing with.
Take him to Seattle.
They're going straight.
My favorite thing about my favorite thing about all this NBA talk, all this free agency, all these trading, all of this, my most favorite part is the fact that Doc Rivers left the Boston Celtics because he didn't want to be a part of a rebuilding era, and then he goes to the Clippers. And the Celtics reached the Eastern Conference Finals.
Of need of a rebuild.
And now the Clippers.
I'm glad you brought that
now
up.
He drives them into the floor, and nobody wants to play for the Clippers. I don't think they get a big free agent. Nobody wants to play for Doc Rivers. He sucks. And the only reason why he won a title is because of the talent that they put around him.
I'm glad you brought up Doc because we got about a minute and a half. I want to get to this point.
The trade are you talking about the trade for Carmelo that he declined?
I am
that was so stupid.
That was ridiculous. But I want to get to this. CWP Nation has spoken, and the poll results came in earlier today. 96% of our listeners across all these groups, social media, everything else, and we appreciate everybody listening right now, whether it's streaming or on the radio. 96% of them think Doc Rivers has to go because 100%. He is absolutely – here's the thing. If he doesn't go, you need a GM. Hi, Jerry West. And then on top of that, you need – to make sure that all Doc is doing is coaching. Doc's a control freak. Doesn't let his assistants talk to the media. He doesn't let anybody on his staff talk to the media. So it's one of those things. He won a championship in Boston. You know who Doc Rivers is? He's a rich man's Tyronn Lue. He went to 2 NBA finals with really talented players, and he won a championship because of the talent, not because of the coaching.
And you guys are being very harsh on Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers is obviously one of the – I mean, you got 2 coaches in the league that are –
Eric Spoelstra has more titles.
Everything's not about titles. We talk about that here plenty. And if you want to talk about people winning championships because of talent, Eric Spoelstra is the poster boy for that. Now, let's be real about
actually, I give those rings to Pat Riley.
even more discredit to his coaching ability. So that's really disrespectful.
I was making
Doc
a point
Rivers,
that
Doc Rivers,
everybody thinks.
Doc Rivers and Popovich is your 2 best coaches left in the NBA right now.
Whoa.
Yes, Doc Rivers is a horrible president.
Hi, there's a guy named
GM,
Steve
owner
Kerr.
of operations.
Yeah, Steve Kerr is better than
you just said.
Doc
You're
Rivers.
talking about guys that only win championships because of the talent around him, and you have the nerve to mention Steve Kerr.
You're telling me Kerr has won only because of the wow.
You have the nerve to mention Steve Kerr, who you don't have to coach.
They drafted that whole team.
You don't even have to coach the
not
team.
Only did Steve help draft the team, but he's the one that
Steve
implemented
Kerr
the
drafted. Do you guys?
No.
Who's been following the Warriors?
Mark Jackson drafted.
I wish I
all
could
of those
speak because you guys are out of control right now. Both you guys are talking erroneous.
No, we're talking
the
about
Warriors was coached by Mark Jackson into their prominence.
That's what I just said.
No, that's not what you said. You said it when you saw me look at you crazy.
No, he said that.
No, you both did. You both did. Can I finish because I was talking? So what I'm saying is this: Mark Jackson, a Christian pastor, as a Christian show, coached him into prominence. The team was snatched from him for no reason and give it to Steve Kerr,
he couldn't win with the team that he had.
Who cannot coach at all. It has the greatest players on the planet who don't even need a coach to play. That's why they had back injuries the whole year. They still had a great season. He comes in for the last 3 games of the playoffs, and now he's a great coach, right?
No, he's better than he's better than Doc Rivers.
Wow.
That's all we're saying. We're not saying he's a great
coach.
Wow.
We're saying he's better than Doc Rivers.
I hope everybody's
Steve,
listening.
What proof do you have that Steve Kerr has to coach?
What proof do you have that Doc Rivers has to coach?
Wow.
Doc Rivers.
Anyway, we're up against
wow.
this.
Doc Rivers will not. Doc Rivers will not win. I'm gonna just say this: Doc Rivers will not win an NBA championship without 3 Hall of Famers on his roster. Doc Rivers will not win a championship without 3 Hall of Famers on his roster.
Carlisle.
in the last 10 years?
Dallas Mavericks. He's only got Dirk Nowitzki going to the Hall
Are you
of Fame
talking about what about Phil Jackson?
Then that's it.
How many Hall of Famers were on the 2000?
No, I was bringing up people who have done it with no Hall of Famers.
Oh,
anyway, we
Dirk
are up against
Nowitzki-
people. We
Dirk
have
Nowitzki
got to
is
go
a
to
Hall of
break.
No, you
Famer?
said 3.
What?
Just one Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
He's saying
he said,
3.
Oh, you said
I
one
said-
or none?
I said 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the Lakers 2010
We
with
have
Kobe.
to go to break.
He's the only Hall of Famer. He's the only Hall of Famer on the
Pau
team.
Gasol's a Hall of Famer.
No, he isn't.
Absolutely.
What?
He is.
Oh,
100%.
there's a whole new debate.
no,
Paul Gasol is a Hall of Famer?
No, he's
Pau
not.
Gasol is not.
Did you lose your mind over
you
that?
saying
He's going to the Hall of Fame.
Big
No, he's
Have you
not.
seen the people
No,
who
he's
are
not.
in?
Pau
Mike.
Gasol is not a
All
Hall
right.
of Famer, dude.
We got to go to break, you
He's
guys.
not.
It is.
No,
Anyway, we have
Pau
to go to
Gasol is
break.
not-
We have to go to
Phil-
break, people.
Kobe Bryant's
Anyway,
the only Hall of Famer on
we
this
have to say goodbye to Mr. Emmanuel
we
Manuel
do-
Tarsus.
Manuel,
I don't
thank
know,
you so-
man. The fans, I think the fans want me back.
Thank you so much.
course.
Thank you so much for being here, brother. We really do appreciate
Kobe
it.
Bryant,
Again,
greatest Laker of all time.
At Emmanuel Tarsus is going to be his
Magic
Instagram
Johnson,
and
Will
Twitter,
Chamberlain,
and
James
EmmanuelTarsus.com.
No.
If you want to get a hold of him, these two guys
Michael-
will not be quiet, so I can send us to break. Anyway, thank you so much, everybody. Really do appreciate you on all our affiliates. It is CWP from Mission Viejo on a Saturday night. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll talk to you in a second.
Okay, guys, we're going to finish up with, and thank you so much for Emmanuel Tarsus for joining us live in studio today on CWP. We're going to finish up with a track called It's All Good by Emmanuel Tarsus. Look him up on SoundCloud.com, YouTube, Instagram. Those guys are still fighting in the background, you guys. This is how it is every single day. Anyway, this is It's All Good by Emmanuel Tarsus. Thank you guys for listening.
You know, I'm just going through it. There's a bunch of things going on right now that's affecting me. No, yeah, you right, man. God's got it. And if God's got it, then it's all good. Exactly.
It's all good, yeah,
It's all good, man. Yeah.
This is a story of a single dad trying to give my daughter the example that I never had. I want to give her the world, so sometimes I get sad. Cause I still rent a room from my mom and stepdad. That don't define me. Yeah, I know that, but it doesn't mean that I don't get discouraged by the fact that I want to give her everything she wants and I can't. Sometimes I could barely even get gas. And it really breaks my heart, cause she really wants a cat. But I gotta tell her no every time that she asks. She thinks I'm a superhero that just doesn't wear a mask. So when I don't save the day, I feel like trash. I wanna be with her all the time. She growing so fast, but I share custody. So our time split in half. I get stressed out and I wanna take a drag, but I quit smoking and I'll never go back. I'll be looking at our future. The odds are so stacked, but I'll never give up. And you can quote that. Sometimes I get mad, but I gotta hold back. Cause my daughter's watching everything I do, and it's all good. It's all good. Through the highs and the lows, the bumps and the roads. Sometimes I hold on, you gotta let go. And just know it's all good. It's all good, yeah, it's all good. It's all good, man, it's all good. It's all good, yeah, it's all good. It's all good, yeah, it's all good. Through the highs and the lows, the bumps and the roads. Sometimes I hold on, you gotta let go. And just know it's all good. It's all good, yeah, it's all good. It's all good, man, it's all good. It's all good, yeah, it's all good. It's all good, yeah, it's all good. Sometimes you gotta let go if you wanna hold on. Gotta cherish every moment before every moment's gone. A relationship is better than a house with a lawn. I would trade all of the money in the world for a bond. With my daughter so strong that it couldn't be broken even when it goes wrong or we don't get along. I hope she understands why I'm writing this song and why it didn't work out between me and the mom. I was 20 years old and I didn't have a job. I ain't have no direction and I didn't know God. Made plans for the future, but my plans had flaws. I thought I could do it by myself and I was wrong. I had nightmares cause my parents broke apart. So when that happened to my daughter, it broke my heart. But honestly, it was more of a blessing in the dark. The old me had to die for new life to start. And now I love my daughter's mother, even though it gets hard. Learn to learn from my struggles, my past and my scars. I wouldn't change a thing, don't know what regrets are. The mistakes in my life helped take me this far. Escape from the tar with the maker of the stars. And he's watching over everything I do, so it's all good. Through the highs and the lows, the bumps and the roads. Sometimes I hold on, you gotta let go. And just know it's all good. It's all good, yeah, it's all good. It's all good, man, it's all good. It's all good, yeah, it's all good. It's all good, yeah, it's all good. Sometimes I hold on, you gotta let go. And just know it's all good. It's all good, yeah, it's all good. It's all good, man, it's all good. It's all good, yeah, it's all good. It's all good, yeah, it's all good.
Who got bills to pay? Who had to work today? Who got kids to raise? But we still gon' praise, cause it's all good.
Through the highs and the lows, the bumps in the road. Sometimes I hold on, you gotta let go. And just know it's all good. It's all good, yeah, it's all good. It's all good, man, it's all good. It's all good, yeah, it's all good. It's all good, yeah, it's all good. Through the highs and the lows, the bumps in the road. Sometimes I hold on, you gotta let go. And just know it's all good. It's all good, yeah, it's all good. It's all good, man, it's all good. It's all good, yeah, it's all good. It's all good, yeah, it's all good.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to CWP Live from Mission Viejo on a Saturday night, and we appreciate
Are you sure
guys
it's Saturday?
I'm positive it's Saturday. Anyway, we appreciate everybody who's joining us wherever, however you're joining us. Thank you so much. In BBA Radio.
Can you hear yourself, Mike?
Yes, I can.
I can't hear.
Okay, and obviously Pluto will fix that. But 102.1 FM, and that's out of Boston and Atlanta. And then obviously we're on Roku, TuneIn, and we have our streams on Facebook and YouTube. And we are at the FYI Studios in Mission Viejo, California. Joining us, he actually gets to stay because Manuel, it was actually not Manuel's bedtime yet. So we went ahead and kept him around for another segment. And you can catch him on Twitter and Instagram at Emmanuel Tarsus. And Emmanuel,
that makes a big difference.
Why don't you let the people know, what is the name of your clothing line, sir?
Lost and Found Clothing. Lost and Found Clothing. Lost, now found. The N stands for now because I once was lost, but now I'm found. That's by Jesus Christ. And we should have we might have a sports line coming out soon, sponsored by Chicken Wings and Pizza.
Ooh.
I might get Chicken Wings and Pizza to sponsor my men's basketball league.
Can you do me a favor?
Wait a minute. You got a men's basketball league?
Can you?
Oh yeah, I hoop every week.
Hey,
where is it at?
Shoreline Church
Manning.
on Brookerson Ellis.
Manny, can you do me a favor?
What city?
When you release
Fountain
that
Valley.
CWP line, can you put a big Doc Rivers face in the middle of a shirt and throw a pie on it?
Oh,
like, can we do that? Like,
I'm gonna put the Doc Rivers face on the back.
Whoa.
So and I'm gonna put on the bottom of the jersey that hangs. Never mind.
Never mind. We're not getting into that. But hey, so I want to get to something, and you just brought up a great point with your clothing line. So this is not all about sports.
Yeah.
We are sports from a Christian perspective, and every single week we're giving it to you. And tonight we're going into our deep dish, which for deep dish pizza, obviously, and we dig a little deeper into the show. And tonight's verse is out of Jeremiah 20:11. But the Lord is with me like a mighty warrior, so my excuse me. Ooh, I can't even. Thank you. So oh my gosh, I can't pronounce the word right now.
So my persecutors will stumble and not prevail.
That was terrible.
They will fail and be thoroughly disgraced. Their dishonor will never be forgotten. Jeremiah 20:11.
Very nicely done. Thank you for the save, sir. But
you know it's all about a system around here.
Absolutely. That's why we are the Lonzo Ball of sports radio.
No. I told you at the beginning. Michael Jordan, Larry Bird.
And I thought, am I Michael Jordan now? I thought it was
obviously
Magic Johnson,
you're Michael
Larry Bird.
Jordan.
Okay, fair enough.
Magic Johnson. I'm straight.
Does that make me Scottie Pippen?
What is
Can
wrong
I be
with
Pippen?
me? The greatest role player of all time.
I want to be Scottie Pippen.
Absolutely. But I want to get into a little bit of...
That makes this guy Steve Kerr.
No, I'm right.
He's a great coach, people.
No.
Y'all love Steve Kerr so much.
If we're talking like that, I'm Dennis Rodman.
Okay, fair enough. He's got the tats for it. You can be Rodman. That's
we'll give you Tony Kukoc.
But anyway, getting into the most important part of the show here. So for me, that verse actually speaks to me in a lot of ways, but the one that it does the most is that we have trials and tribulations every day as men, as fathers, as husbands, as just people in general, whether you're a pastor, a producer, a Grubhub driver, a Lyft driver.
Shout out Grubhub.
Or, you know what, and also, which I wanted to bring up to you guys, playing sports. Like
without a doubt.
In sports, like as a Christian,
persevering
in adult leagues, or even when you're dealing with like the hecklers on the other team, or when your competitiveness raises and you have guys on the other team that are talking trash to you, and especially when you haven't been a Christian your whole life and you know the way that you responded to that certain stuff before Christ is so like right there, and you gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's important.
Oh boy, Manny, you bring up a great point. I ball with the little youngsters in my neighborhood all the time.
It's the only people he can school.
And one of them, they were cheating pretty bad. I'm like, look, y'all need to stop
That's called
cheating.
running faster than Hebrew.
And they start. This is the serious part of the show, Mike. We don't need that right now. But they started with the cheating and all this type of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking at them. They start challenging me, and people don't always know I'm 31 when I'm playing with a bunch of little 17-year-old, 20-year-old kids. So they think I'm on their same level. And I just looked at them, and the old me. When you're on the basketball court, you can say the wrong thing, and that's automatically, right hook coming at you. You didn't even know you said the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And so I love what you brought up with that, because literally when I'm out there playing with those guys, I have to tell myself, you're a different man.
Yes.
You don't handle it like this. Let them talk. And, I'll either leave the game if it gets too bad, or I'll just keep balling, let them talk and run their mouth. And this is all because of salvation in Christ. And like,
and you're an example to those kids.
Example to the kids, and they all know I make Christian rap music. They all know I do this show, so you have to be that example. And when pride gets in the way, like I want to defend myself, it's this scriptures like these that let you know, even if you look wrong, even if people are laughing, clowning you, calling you soft, the Lord wins all these battles.
Yes.
As Christians, when we're persecuted, we win in the end. So nothing really matters. I mean, you just threw another jewel on my crown up in heaven. Thanks for hating.
Yeah.
For me, and I love what you said about the right hook, because we're both boxing fans, like serious avid boxing
Definitely.
fans. And one of the things in boxing, if you've ever been associated with it in any way, just watching Rocky or actually doing it, you know that perseverance and training is a huge part. Well, the Christian walk's no different. You have to be perseverant in, if that's a word, you have to have that, because every single day you're going to be tested. There is going to be
persecutors that this scripture talks
exactly, and you're going to be persecuted as a Christian. As much love as we get from everybody who listens and watches this show, we have just as many people who hate us because of what we stand for.
Right.
And we're not here to necessarily be martyrs or do all these other things. We're here unto the Lord and not unto men. We're here for a show for people to enjoy. So for me, the persecution is going to come. And it is, but Jeremiah 20:11 very specifically states, if you are walking close with your Lord, that is not going to be a problem, and He is going to take care of it for you.
And that brings up, to me, two verses that are very important, and that's Matthew 24:9, which says, "Then you will be handed over to be persecuted and put to death, and you will be hated by all the nations because of me." And then that goes back to Exodus 14:14, which is one of my favorite verses. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. And so it's that place where it's like, okay, Jesus says, like, Jesus told us that we're going to be persecuted. We know, like, being Christians, like, that's going to happen. But then you look at the verses, like the verse of the day, and then Exodus 14:14, another Old Testament verse that says, hey, just be still. The Lord's going to fight for you. Because, I mean, I wanted to bring this up to you guys. I play in the men's basketball league every week, and I play with non-Christians on my team. It's at a church, but it's full. The league is full of non-Christians. There's referees. It's an actual league. We have championship games and all that stuff. Well, like, for me, like, when I don't get calls or the referees are, out to, put us down or whatever, the other teams are talking smack, like, everybody knows I'm a Christian. Everybody knows that. And even if they didn't, like, my actions, like, that could be the only way that they ever know who Christ is, just by the way I act and respond. And
Amen.
Sometimes I have to leave at halftime and just go outside and say and pray, because I feel like yelling at the ref. I feel like getting in the face of another player who's playing dirty. I want to win so badly, and sometimes my pride can begin to get wrapped up in whether I win or lose or have a bad game or airball a shot or whatever. And so I just got to remember at the end of the day that my identity is in Christ and not in sports. And that's the best. And for the listeners out there who play sports and who are in men's leagues, football, softball, basketball, whatever, the best way that you can, as a Christian, you could be a role model and share the example of who Christ is to remember that your identity is in Christ and not if you're good or bad or if you win or lose. And the people that you're playing with, they could never read the Bible in their entire life. They could never know another Christian in their entire life, but they're in that setting with you. God has orchestrated it. And so the way that you respond and react to that is going to show them the gospel, is going to show them who Jesus is. And so that's my encouragement to our listeners who play sports and have a hard time or need to teach their kids.
It's very well said, and I appreciate that, Manny, just because that speaks to how we should be, period.
Right.
That just speaks to what we should be doing as a, as much as we argue on this show and as much as we go, oh my gosh, I can't believe you think that. The thing is that we all are intelligent. We all have the right to think what we want. And when you accept Christ, knowing and accepting that responsibility is greater than what a lot of people even realize that it is. And that's why accepting the Lord into your heart, while it is a great thing, still takes that training and that strife every day to prepare yourself for whatever the devil has.
Yeah. Amen. And, just on the persecutors and all that part, and how they will stumble, they will not prevail. Just one of the names of God came to mind that I wanted to speak on before we move on. It's Yahweh, the Lord of hosts.
Yeah.
And that's the God that fights your battles. Yahweh, the banner bearer, Nisi. He's the one who, anything we're dealing with in life, whether it be job-related, even family, interpersonal relationships that you feel may not be right, you battle against every day. When you put all your trust in God, these are spiritual battles that we're facing. It's not the people that we're dealing with. You can watch God change your situation. You can watch him just make peace come where there was no peace. And you can really trust in him so you don't have to take it upon yourself to act out a character when people are coming at you. And this is one of the parts that makes the Christian walk much easier, just trusting God to be that Lord of hosts in your life.
Right.
No, and it's very well said. And I think that this deep dish has been extremely productive. I think they all are, but I think tonight has been really special to have an extra perspective from Manny, and just praise God that we're able to do this. We are very grateful to live in a nation where this is possible, and for all of you people listening, however that may be, wherever you are, we really do appreciate everybody. But sports is never anything without debate, so I wanted to go ahead and take us from persecutors to being persecuted, because now we are going to talk about who the greatest Laker is in the history of the franchise. And
Kobe Bryant.
I want to go ahead and start with this, because we ran a poll online on Facebook. We asked everybody, who is the greatest Laker of all time? And in this order, this is how they finished. Kobe, Magic,
accurate.
Kareem,
accurate.
Shaq.
Accurate.
Now,
what about Lou Alcindor?
That would be Kareem.
Oh, man. You guys let him on your show?
Anyway. So, and yes, his original name was Lou Alcindor when he played for John Wooden at UCLA.
This is the reason why Magic and Kobe are 1 and 2, no matter what, because they were Lakers for life.
Okay, now here's where I'm going to completely disagree with that. Because regardless of whether they're Lakers for life or not, what Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did for the Los Angeles Lakers in the mid-'70s when they were obscure and they were nothing, and he was still taking them deep in the playoffs. He was winning MVPs.
Winning championships.
Wait a minute. You're sitting there talking about the fact that Magic and Kobe are the greatest Lakers.
Yes.
Kareem had the only unblockable shot in the history of the game, not to mention the fact that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, keep in mind, that Magic doesn't win all those titles without Kareem.
No way.
Period. There's no way.
Impossible.
Impossible.
Bro, it doesn't matter what Kareem. It doesn't matter about
Kareem's the greatest Laker ever. He's got the most MVPs as a Laker.
Who cares, bro? How many? You go to the Laker. You go to a Laker parade, bro. You go to a Laker parade. How many Laker parades have you been to?
Me? I don't go.
Okay, so if you go to a Laker parade, you know how many Kareem Abdul-Jabbar jerseys there are? 2.
I sincerely think there's more than 2. And
there's at most 2.
Let's keep in mind that the reason everybody wears Kobe's jerseys is he's the last good player the Lakers have had.
That is
so memory.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what I was going to respond to when he talked about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. It's like
that's not true. But
I mean, yeah, but I mean to this.
Pluto hasn't talked all night. Let's give him the floor, people.
I hear what Manny's saying about Magic and Kobe, and me being a hardcore Laker fan, I'm there. But you have to remember what Kareem did back in the day when he had nothing. I mean, when Magic came, he had Kareem.
No,
and not saying that he's bad.
Jerry West is more. It goes Kobe.
No, bro.
Yeah, Magic.
Weren't we just talking
Jerry
about this?
West.
Yes.
Who just set the when Kareem set the
Jerry West.
Right, in
Jerry
1984.
Jerry
Yeah.
West. There was when the Lakers came to LA from Minneapolis. You know what Jerry West did? Jerry West drove around in his car and invited people to the Laker games. He carried the Lakers, and he played against a stacked Celtics team year after year.
So let me ask you. So with your point, Jerry West is actually the best Laker ever, as not only a player and an MVP, but a GM who built Showtime.
I like that perspective.
So if you're gonna take,
I would say he would go. No, he would go
Did
third. He would go. Jerry West would go third behind Magic and
does
Kobe.
does Showtime does Showtime ever happen if Kareem never goes to the Lakers?
Of course not. Who are
Thank
they going
you.
to get to do that?
No,
Thank
no,
you.
no,
Thank you.
no,
Who
no,
are
no,
they
no,
gonna
no.
get to do that?
Showtime. No. Showtime. Do not give Kareem the credit for Showtime. Magic
Look at everyone.
Johnson-
Look at everyone.
Let me
Magic
ask. I want
Johnson.
to- Manny,
Yes.
Manny,
Dude.
Manny,
There's
Manny.
no
I have to ask you-
Showtime
I
without
have to-
Magic.
No, I understand that. I'm not saying
Manny,
that.
I have
but
to ask a question. Wait, just give me
Go ahead,
1
go ahead.
second.
Yeah.
How in the world do they beat the Boston Celtics without Kareem?
They did.
They didn't. They've never beat the Celtics in the 80s without DeBar.
I'm sorry. Excuse me. I thought I heard championship,
Greatest.
Yeah.
but they did win the championship.
say
Game
this.
Game 7. No Kareem.
Game 6 at the Spectrum in
19
1980.
no, but not- yeah,
and he
19
was the MVP of the series before his ankle got rolled.
I will say this about the I will say this about the Lakers.
How
The Lakers
no, but
debate going on right
yeah,
about now.
but then you take Kareem out, and they still win. Magic still takes
No,
Magic still
I will
takes
say
took
that.
him.
I will say that.
Time, but he's not even considered. Like, we don't even look at that. Like
the
Shaq won. He left.
The greatest Laker of all time is clearly Magic Johnson.
Number
Not
2,
just
yeah.
based on what he did on the floor. We can go to
It's number 2.
We could go to off the floor. Magic Johnson, playing point guard at his size, unheard of when he came into the NBA. What he did revolutionized everything that's being done in the NBA. Made players like LeBron James possible. They wouldn't even never
But
let
Kobe
him
Bryant.
play the
Kobe
ball
Bryant
like
played
that.
for the Lakers for 20 straight years. Kobe
Completely
Bryant.
came off.
And then, and
Kobe played for the Lakers for
wasn't
20
even
straight
touching
years,
when it did.
and he won the championship with no other Hall of Fame players on his team.
That's not even close to being true.
Magic Johnson won the championship with how many Hall of Famers on his
That's
team?
not even close
not
to
only
being
that,
true.
Not only that, but how many players
Rick
got
Fox
there?
is a Hall of Famer. I'm
Guaranteed.
just kidding.
No, I'm
Relax.
talking
Rick
about.
Fox is a Hall of
I'm
Famer.
talking about. I'm talking
Pau
about.
Gasol's a Hall of Famer.
No, I'm talking about the Lakers. I'm talking about the Lakers' second run with just Kobe.
Pau Gasol.
Well, Trevor
Not a Hall
Ariza
of
was on
Famer.
that team.
Not a Hall of Famer.
How is Pau Gasol not a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, in what way is he not? That's what I would like to know. How is he not a Hall of Famer? Like, I'm serious. Like, Pau Gasol's stats, titles, everything that goes with that guy is Hall of Fame.
I don't understand that at all.
Like, if you're gonna put,
International career.
I
don't understand that one at all.
I'm not. That's actually not an arguable point. But I'm saying that Powell's accomplishments, he's a Hall of Famer.
And look,
Have you
but-
seen how easy it is to
let's-
get in to Springfield?
Let's look at the off the
I mean, for
floor.
crying out
Magic
loud.
Johnson is the greatest businessman the Lakers have ever seen.
Okay, but Jerry West is the greatest executive they've seen. So
I'm not
if you
talking. I'm just talking about all around of what to Laker Nation, the most important person would have to be Magic Johnson on that list, just to keep the lore and the.
you wouldn't give credence to the fact that even though I agree with you that Magic would be.
Showtime Lakers came off of his passing ability.
Oh, I agree. I'm saying that. Where do you put Kobe Bryant though? In that
Lakers
on that
history?
list, yes.
Kobe Bryant would probably be number 2.
Okay.
He plays 21 years for the same franchise.
Okay.
He brings many championships home in his run. He ran out the best center to ever play the game. I mean, if you're not a great
Without
Laker,
question.
if you run out one of the best centers to ever do it, something's great about you.
Mm-hmm.
We know. I mean, he was also such a polarizing figure for the Lakers. He made many players not want to play with him in the final 5 years of his career. So Kobe Bryant is definitely number 2 on that list. Then you would have to go with Kareem, and Shaq would round it out for me at number 4.
Okay.
The other part of that too is like people want to talk about like great players not wanting to play with Kobe Bryant, and people want to talk about Kobe Bryant being the reason why the Lakers sucked the past 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But that is so far from the truth, because we had Chris Paul locked up, It was the NBA that vetoed the trade, and that screwed everything up.
And I'll give you that.
That screwed. And I hate when people try to say, "Man, Kobe's the reason why the Lakers suck." No, it isn't. The NBA is the reason why, because the Lakers were about to have Dwight Howard and Chris Paul on the same team when Chris Paul was.
And the league did Chris Paul a favor, because that would have ended up a travesty, as we see what Dwight Howard did with the Lakers.
Mm-hmm. Because
Kobe Bryant was injured for most of that time.
And not only that, not only that,
did Chris Paul a favor.
But not only that, but whose idea was it to freaking sign
Steve Nash?
No, not Steve Nash. I'm talking about D'Antoni over Phil Jackson. That was.
I want to bring something up real quick, because I think this gets overlooked majorly by Kobe fans especially.
Yeah, because they're too stuck
Kobe
on
Kobe Bryant in the middle when Shaq wasn't with him, and then at the end of his career.
When he was playing with Smush,
when he was
Parker
by
and
himself.
Kwame Brown.
Thank you, Big Mike. When he was by himself, what happened, bro?
When I finish, we'll know. My thing is this. Kobe Bryant, playing for the Lakers, asked to be traded for the Clippers, number one. So he didn't want to spend his whole career with the Lakers. That's a misnomer.
No, he did.
No, he did
what
not.
That did, what
he wouldn't
that
have
did,
asked for a trade on public radio if he didn't want to trade.
What that did with that trade was saying, hey, go get me some help. And
that
brought in Powell.
So explain to me this. If Kobe Bryant really wanted to be greater than Michael Jordan or even be in the conversation, why did he take a 2-year, $50 million contract at the end of his career when he was not nearly what he used to be?
And
he ended up capital space that could have went to a contender.
What should he have done? Retired?
Either that, or he should have left money on the table for them to go get somebody to help him out.
What are they doing down in San Antonio? Opted out of contracts to put more money on the table?
Correct.
He could have tried that.
Yeah, and my question...
Let's leave some money on the table for a superstar.
But I want to ask... Honestly, Manny, I want to ask you a question, though. If Kobe's the greatest Laker ever, is he also the most selfish?
That's guaranteed.
Because how can he be the most selfish?
Man,
look up his stat. Look up his stat line.
Doesn't have the best.
But I can look up I can look up Kareem's stat line, and his is better than Kobe's.
He definitely doesn't have.
He definitely doesn't have a better looking shoe.
Did you know Kareem has more career assists?
His Lakers
than Kobe.
It's when you're being quadruple teamed and you pass it out to open guys. That's easy to get assists.
That's still an assist.
Yeah, but it's easier.
My point
is, you're taller and you're bigger and you're
to
seeing
my argument
easier
for
to get
Kareem.
assists.
Kareem's got as many rings as Kobe. He's got more MVPs. Kobe has one, and
that's because he got robbed by Steve Nash.
Well,
and
that's cool.
And the NBA doesn't want to give the MVP to somebody who was on record who got charged with rape. They don't want to give their MVP to somebody who got charged with rape.
Okay,
if he never would have had that, then he would have got those MVPs. Because of that, he was tarnished.
Okay.
The NBA doesn't want their best player.
Then they wouldn't have given him one at all.
No, they had to give him one. They had to.
If Kobe Bryant was as great as you advertised, Steve Nash doesn't beat him out for 2 MVPs, period.
He should, but it's because Kobe got charged with rape. And that's
we
why
gotta move on from that.
Yeah, we have to move on from that point. But I'm just saying.
But the only reason why Steve Nash Kobe had better years. It's because Steve Nash played for a team that had a higher ranking, and because Kobe's name was tarnished because of what happened to him outside of basketball, the NBA didn't want to put their name next to somebody who had that because they would have lost money.
Well, fair enough. I mean, look, I think all of us. Pluto, who do you think the greatest Laker is? I mean, we all three have separate opinions. Who do you think?
I mean, as far if
Nick Van Exel.
Just take it,
Nick the Quick was awesome.
And I'm not taking away from
Dwight Howard.
I'm not taking away from Kareem as the greatest Laker, like as a player, because his accomplishments. But I'm just saying that he wasn't he can't be the greatest Laker of all time because he didn't play for the Lakers his whole career. So that's
Well, I mean. No.
Then Michael Jordan's not the greatest Bull because he didn't play for the Bulls his whole career.
And I guess LeBron James is not the greatest Cavalier.
Nope.
Mark
Price, baby.
I believe when you ask what embodies the image of the Lakers, it's either Kobe or Magic. I get that, but as far as importance and you cannot dismiss Kareem and what he did, and especially what he did before Magic got there. So. Yeah, the front man. Who's the front man of the band? Kobe and Magic, probably.
And the reason why LeBron and Michael Jordan are the best of the Bulls and the Cleveland Cavaliers is because there's nobody to compare. If there was no Magic and there was no Kobe on the Lakers, of course Kareem's the best Laker of all time.
Bulls had Jamal Crawford.
They had Jay Williams out of Duke. Okay. What about him anyway? So we're gonna
Scottie Pippen,
we're
greatest role player of all time.
Don't talk about Scottie Pippen.
We're gonna leave it at that, folks. We are up against our last break for this evening, but when we come back, we will finish up with a little more NBA. It has been a wonderful night. Thank you again to NBBA, Not by Bread Alone Radio, Power 102.1 FM. That's out of Atlanta and Boston. Live streams on Facebook and YouTube, Roku, TuneIn. And thank you so much to FYI for the studios. This is CWP on a Saturday night.
Before we go, Mike, I got to shout out the real MVP of this show. God bless you, fans out there. Y'all have made this show often. We've had our peak live viewers at over 30 holding tonight. We're doing a great job. I really appreciate all y'all for tuning in. Thank you for, being here, rocking with us. It makes no sense without y'all here, with us every
the
week.
fans
so
of the MVP
definitely want to thank y'all for, rocking with us tonight.
Thank you, guys. We'll be back in a few.
All right, guys. It's CWMP on a Wednesday night here, and we're gonna.
Tonight is not Wednesday. This is not
Saturday,
the Project Pluto hour.
I'm trying to do 7 things at one time.
This is not the Project Pluto hour.
Sorry about that. Hey, I knew that sounded weird. Hey, this is War Cry by Mr. Marshall off the new album Rise.
No.
That's all I got right now. I can't.
You don't got the other one?
I don't got the other one.
Oh, what
anyway,
that's who this is.
No. That's who this is. Right on CWP. We'll catch you on the right backside.
You, bro.
Oh no, we got some heat.
A good old war cry will do when the enemy comes in. A good old war cry will do. Wake up, there's been a murder. Some dude laid by a burner. It had your fingerprints, so I know it would concern you. You fled the scene, things were unclean. You left some evidence. Who is that cat you killed right now? That's all irrelevant. Heat is on, you know the cops are out and they searching. I went to that dude's wake. It was sad when they closed the curtains. That's when you really knew it was the end. All over. You had to be tight. Can't believe it, cold and sober. You took a life, didn't think twice. As he hit the ground, dropped the piece, said you's a beast, jetted out of town. Now you on the run. You took somebody's mom's only son. What was the reason? Are you sure you got the right one? Read the paper and they said it was an argument. I'm kinda tripping, cause I'm here to see how far you went. No mercy. And you know the one thing that hurts me, his skin was the same as your color. He could have been your brother. Up, there's been another killing. Little girl by the building, let me get this straight. She was out playing with the children. Straight bullet action. I saw a friend collapsing, and all you got to say for yourself. What kind of man are you? What makes you do the things you do? To take the life of a future wife. They could conceive all the greatness of birthing a child. You took all those dreams away, just acting wild. On the corners with your buddies, getting high and acting nutty. You left that shorty bloody. Your world real bloody. Can't imagine the pain that a family has. Even though it's in the past, the heartache can last, and that's eternal. You're hellbound, dude, it's short of burn. Caught up in the game, remain to be uncertain. You feel that life is working, but where does that lead? That pain would be unbearable if that was your seed. Suicide, died from his pride, couldn't take it no more. Depression killed him from the inside, lost his mindset that went with his soul. A devil implanted himself, kept him on hold. He took the wrong road,
Started from his pops, I guess. In and out of jail till he got one in the chest. Left a mess of the boy that he could not raise. Saw his life in the haze, but he knew crime pays. So many ways I'ma praise my idol, been his grave. Fast money, fast cars, instead of a 9-to-5 slave. The behavior wasn't normal, I warned you on that. Every day was like formal, and dressing in black. No excuses for his actions, he loves it that way. Leave his moms at home on the knees to pray, hoping he make it through another day to wash her fears, wash away her tears. He was only 23 years of age.
What up, family? You are back live with CWP Nation out here on the West Coast, the beautiful Mission Viejo, California. But we are going global right now, man. We got to shout out FYI, on the TuneIn, the Roku app, Power 102, Miami, Boston, Atlanta, all the way international. Not by bread alone out of the DMV area. I can't believe anytime you hear Miami, you might hear a dolphin sound coming from this kid. But we got
not that.
We got
That's
Not by Bread Radio coming out of the VA worldwide, man. Picasso, Gerlin, we see you. Pluto, man, awesome producer of the show.
The hardest working man in radio by far is Pluto.
That's right. We got our special live in studio guest, Emmanuel Tarsus, also West Coast representative. He's a Christian rapper. He's a youth pastor. He got his own clothing line, Lost Now Found.
Lost and Found.
Lost and Found, the N stands for now. You guys are both right.
Fair enough.
This just means I was actually listening to you today, Emmanuel. These guys were not. But I love
How dare you expose
I
us.
wanted to highlight the Lost Now Found because I think that is an awesome lyrical name to name a clothing line. So I really like the fact that the N stands for now.
Absolutely.
Because that's totally different, than the regular Lost and Found where we pick our jackets up in elementary school.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it's the same thing. So I absolutely
Did
love
anybody
that.
else have lice in their jacket
I think
after
that's
hitting
a
it up in there?
testament. Well, the answer to that I really can't answer right now. So
And
anyway,
that's the reason why it's called Lost and Found, because it's like we named it Lost and Found Clothing and the N standing for now, because it's like when you like if you lose your wallet or you lose your favorite jacket or you lose your cell phone and it ends up like in the Lost and Found and you go inside there and you find it and think about how joyful you are after losing it.
That's right.
That's how God feels when when we give our life to him and he finds us and we meet in that moment. That God feels just.
He said, what he say, Emmanuel? All heaven rejoices when one comes home.
Yes.
And he left the 99 just to get the one.
Yes.
So this is very true. We also, we'd be remiss without shouting out our sponsors, Whipped Up by Whitney. You need anything sweet, go look that up on Facebook. Cloud Crew 417, clothing and music. We got everything from cell phone cases to coffee cups to socks and shirts and hats, beanies. Man, it's cracking out here in the name of Jesus. With that being said, we are here at our final segment of the night, and let us know what that is, please, Big Mike.
The Dessert Platter, which is sponsored by Whipped Up by Wit. Check it out on Facebook, just like Hebrew was saying. For any cakes, cookies, graduations, she does weddings.
Birthday.
She's also my wife and beautiful. Hi, honey. But anyway.
Birthdays.
Ooh, yeah, birthdays are a big one.
I just see
a lot of people do cake on birthdays.
Why is that, Mike?
I don't know. I like pie, personally. That's more my speed. But I wanted to get, obviously, we're finishing up tonight. And, again, thank you so much to Manny, man. Just a pleasure to have you. And just,
this is awesome.
It really is. It's been an all-NBA show. We certainly don't mind that because baseball, somewhat is boring.
It's the NBA.
Hey, I love baseball. Don't you do that to me. Don't you give me that sound, Pluto.
Hey, Mike, it's the NBA free agent fever going on.
Woo,
it's a lot going on.
It is hot in here because Pluto didn't turn on the air.
This has been one of the better off seasons in basketball, though.
I got so many windbags in here that
And the Angels are better than the Dodgers.
We
right?
had a great. Oh wow.
Okay, we'll see.
I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one, Pluto. We know what the record looks like right now.
So I want to ask you guys a question because our wonderful
Hold on,
list.
Mike. Before we go on, who's your favorite rookie this year?
Ooh, I'm going Aaron Judge all day. He is killing it right
in
now.
the NBA.
Over Bellinger?
Favorite rookie in the NBA.
He said, "Oh, rookie in the NBA." Sorry, I thought we were talking baseball.
No, we're talking about the NBA today.
No. If I'm going rookie of the year,
Not rookie of the year. I just want to know who your favorite NBA draft pick was.
Draft pick.
Wait, draft of this like the Lonzo Ball draft.
If we're doing a draft,
we've had a great offseason in NBA this
well,
year.
The 2017 draft.
Actually, you know what? You asked me who my favorite rookie is initially. It's not even a draft pick. I want to see Ben Simmons play. I want to see if Ben Simmons, who is technically a rookie this season, is everything he was advertised to be. And Lord knows if he is, the 76ers are going to be legit.
Especially with J.J. Redick coming in at 20.
I'm actually thinking more Joel Embiid is going to be.
The process, I trust the process.
I do
Boy,
too.
It's bad. How about you, Manuel? Who's your favorite rookie out of this draft class?
Man, I'm a very big Fox fan. I like Fox. I mean, obviously, Lonzo. I don't see what the hype with Markelle Fultz is. I don't necessarily think he's gonna do that much.
That kid's gonna score out of his mind.
I would say that's your rookie of the year right there, Markelle Fultz. That's definitely my favorite.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, he definitely. But
I'm gonna say Markelle Fultz, most overrated. Most overrated draft
I
pick.
like your pick of Fox, except he ended up in pro basketball hell in Sacramento. So that's the one thing that's his big, and he has nobody around him.
They had a decent.
Don't they got Derek Collison up there still?
If you're listening on the radio, I'm literally looking at this man like there's lobsters crawling out of his ears.
Matt Barnes will go back to Sacramento and play with the kids.
Go start some fights in some nightclubs.
I thought you were talking about this last year, so I'm gonna answer for that too. I'm gonna go Joel Embiid. And I like him.
That boy's a beast.
I like him specifically not for the fact that he plays well, but for the fact that he tweets well. And so after all,
that's literally going to be on the back of every basketball card. His Twitter account has 5,300 followers.
It's so Well, they got it's like it's so fun. I love him interacting and like the way that he responds. Like when Lonzo got drafted and Ben Simmons tweeted crazy pills, and then Embiid tweets, "Man, go dunk on him. I hope you dunk on him so hard that is like that's crazy to me."
But that's just a product of his daddy. That's all that is.
Wait.
Of LeVar.
No.
That's the only reason those tweets are coming.
No. But he's an active tweeter throughout the season. Like
okay, I got you.
So that was just one of them.
He does. His Twitter account is crazy.
And
I'm with you.
And like he just tweeted when Paul George left the Eastern Conference, he was like, "More playoff spots are opening."
Yeah. I like that.
Oh, you know what? And you segued well into something. We were talking earlier in the show, and were we on air when we were talking about 13 out of 15?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my question is this. Is there really any excuse that the Cavs don't go to a fourth consecutive finals?
I'm telling you, there's one excuse. There's one excuse.
Same thing with the Warriors in the West.
There's one excuse with the rosters as they stand right now.
And what's that?
Would be those young 76ers. If those boys come out healthy,
no, that's like to me.
I think they can shock a lot of people.
I would love for you to be right, but the team in the East that I think is a dark horse that not one person is talking about, and it's literally hilarious to me.
The Wizards?
Is the Milwaukee Bucks. That kid just won Rookie of the Year. Their point guard, his name's the Greek Freak is literally.
You can't just run over that. That was the worst Rookie of the Year award I've seen in recent history.
Now wait a minute though.
Worse.
I thought it should have gone to Embiid anyway. Like
Why not?
I didn't feel like it
Why
should have
not?
mattered. He only played
Joel
31
Embiid
games. But here's what I'm getting to.
Killed the league last year.
They have a comparable guy at point guard. They have the Greek Freak.
Brogdon? I don't think so.
Okay, here's the thing. Greg Monroe bought in his option. He's a decent NBA center. He's not going to blow you away. If Henson comes back healthy and they can get that front court going in the right direction.
Henson is too reliable, though.
But my thing is this. Milwaukee has the potential to blow up next year, especially with the East being so weak.
So you're telling me with a healthy 76ers roster and a healthy Milwaukee's roster, what's your 7-game series?
It's a coin flip.
Oh, wow. Thanks a lot.
So it's a coin flip, yeah. So, no, that's my
the 76ers, if they play if the 76ers play well, and they click and they, they're gonna
Is that Manny Pacquiao coming?
They're gonna remind me of the Oklahoma City Thunder that year when they scared the Lakers in the first round.
Exactly.
Ooh, that's a good
Nobody
one.
wasn't
That's
expecting OKC to do that.
But
That's
the
in
Lakers-
09 when they beat the Magic, right? That's when that's when Westbrook missed that shot at the buzzer that would have sent it to 7, right?
I believe so.
Okay.
So I look
situation.
at it like that. If the Sixers play the Cavaliers, they could give them a scare, and their youth could really.
Only thing is, though, you got way more talent on this 76ers team than that OKC team. Way more talent.
You really are going to take this year's 76ers over a team that had Harden, Durant, and Westbrook?
Way more talent. That's all they had. That was the problem why Harden had to leave.
Okay. I mean, I'm with where you're at. It's just I think that those 3 guys, for what they are now, I would tend to lean that direction. And let's keep in mind something. Those 3 haven't had, or didn't at the time, have injury-plagued seasons like Simmons, like Embiid. Let's remember, Joel Embiid's been in the league 4 years.
And like Markelle Fultz, who just came off an injury, who missed a lot of time in the NCAA last year.
Well, that's true. And I think with Fultz, you know what's interesting about Markelle Fultz? It wasn't that there wasn't other prospects. He was the pick.
Yeah.
It's like with the Lakers. The Lakers were drafting Lonzo Ball the whole time. They weren't going any different direction. You know why? Because he was the pick. Because his father created a circus that if the Lakers didn't pick him, then there would have been this huge backlash if Lonzo goes on to be this stud player. They're going to be like, well, you should have just picked him.
I would have rolled the dice on that one all day.
I know you would have, but
I would not have
but
taken
I want to
Lonzo Ball.
But I want to get to this point because
He'll be out of the league in 3 years.
Well, you heard it first on CWP if that happens. But here's what I'm gonna get to. The East is right now the JV of the 2 conferences, and it's so bad in the East.
What's his name? That was number 1. I'm sorry, Anthony Bennett.
Yeah, Anthony Bennett. Okay.
Lonzo Ball.
No
way.
Now that one's not gonna happen.
Complete bust.
No, that's not gonna happen.
No.
Anthony
bust.
Bennett hardly ever got on the floor. There's a difference.
Oh, so we're going to see more of a failure, is what you're saying.
No way, dude.
Pluto, I need your opinion on that real quick. Is there any way that he's as bad as Anthony Bennett?
I mean,
mark my
that's
words.
pretty awful.
First of
my words.
I can't remember a bigger draft bust in NBA history than Anthony Bennett.
That's what you get for drafting a guy from Canada, number 1.
Well, Andrew Wiggins is pretty good.
Not really.
You know what? He'd have
number
to.
1? You're telling me Andrew Wiggins is number 1 good after seeing him in the league for 3 years?
As a scorer, yes. As a scorer, yes.
Who else
We've seen him for 3 years, Mike, and you're still taking him number 1.
You can't look at it just as a number 1.
Wait a minute, though. If I'm looking at it that way, that's a whole different set.
I'm talking about the
okay,
number
so
1
in
pick.
'84, if the Rockets had seen what Michael Jordan became, they take him number 1.
That's not what I'm talking about.
That's just what you did.
But that's
you did the exact same thing.
You're not saying. That's not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
You're still would take Andrew Wiggins as a number 1 pick.
If I'm talking about an all-around player, no.
This just
Thank
in:
you.
Andre Iguodala agrees to 3-year, $45 million deal with the Warriors.
With the Warriors, okay. Well, now you have
deal.
that Golden State is not
What did I
only
tell
formed,
you?
they re-upped,
What did I tell you? They don't.
Now-
they do not want to lose Andre Iguodala.
and that's why he stopped taking meetings.
They're going to
because
be paying.
he
They're
knew
going to be paying. What is the luxury tax this year? I think it's 121 million.
119.8.
Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's what I want to get to.
Woo!
So the West is pretty much going to be the competition bracket.
Oh, yeah.
I
Just
love
like
what
it's been for the last 7 years.
I want to talk about this. We're almost at the end of the
7:20.
show. Again, thank you to everybody, however, wherever you're listening. This has been an awesome show. You guys are incredible as fans and as listeners, so thank you so much for joining us. You guys brought up something earlier that has been talked about, and I absolutely love that you brought it up, and I want to bring it back. The top 16 teams should make the playoffs in the NBA,
Yes,
period. And it
please.
should be 1 through 16.
Please.
Should go 1-16, 2-15, 3-14, so on and so forth.
Yes,
and here's the
please.
reason for that. Because if you take the Western Conference, and shout out to Josh Solibury if you're still listening, player, the Minnesota Timberwolves, they may not necessarily be a playoff team in the West, but in the East, they'd go 50-32.
Oh, man.
I mean, they are.
We need that.
And what we're talking about is, think about all the teams that are going to be pathetic this year. You're going to have the Knicks, who are a dumpster fire anyway. Then you're going to have the Bulls, who just lost Jimmy Butler. Dwayne Wade's disinterested, and Rajon Rondo just got let go. Then you got the Pacers just lost Paul George. Name me another player on that roster other than Miles Turner. I'll wait. Okay, that's what I figured. So my thing is the
I'm trying to think too. Miles.
Actually, Jeff Teague is another
Jeff
one.
Teague's gone.
No, Jeff Teague's on that team.
Jeff
Isn't he?
Teague just signed.
Did he sign somewhere else
with Minnesota?
Okay, fair enough. So that
I
replaces Rubio.
I want to say he signed with Minnesota for. It was something amazing.
Okay, fair enough.
Jeff Teague's out of there.
But I'm with you. So here's the thing: all those dumpster fires in the East.
Yeah.
Now you're basically getting to the point where you're gonna sit there and go, man, there is so many bad teams in the Eastern Conference.
Boring. And there's teams that don't make the playoffs in the West.
And guess what? If the Raptors lose Kyle Lowry, I got a newsflash. DeRozan's not carrying them to 45 wins.
Oh, my God.
There's no way.
Kyle Lowry's done with the Raps, though.
Well, he might be in San Antonio. Who knows? I mean, that would be a perfect fit for the Spurs. He's not. He is a team first.
And you got the same issue.
Well, okay, but again, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that would be somewhat of a fit for him. And Tony Parker's career, unfortunately, I think is kind of over at this point. But where I'm trying to go with this is simple, fellas.
Yeah, Jeff Teague went to the Minnesota.
So
he signed.
So are we all three in the and Pluto? You can make this 4. Is the West going to be pretty much the tournament bracket next year, and whoever comes out of the East is just going to get wasted?
Care about the East.
It's the same thing that just happened.
I mean, well,
even if you're the Cavaliers and your team is so good, the fact that you're not battle-proven, you're not going to be able to compete in the final
I want to
series.
point something out to our audience. You had a game that the Warriors lost in the playoffs. The Cleveland Cavaliers had to hit 24 three-pointers and shoot over 60%.
And how often is that going to happen?
It's happened once in NBA Finals history in how many years?
Point taken.
So my thing is this. The Warriors are the team to beat in the NBA. There is no doubt about that. Now, you can build a team that can challenge them, and if they avoid injuries, they're the NBA champs next year. There's no question. They're the best team in the league. They were the best team in the league all year this year. And if it wasn't for the most miraculous comeback in the history of pro sports, they're 3-time defending champions with a 3-peat. Literally.
If it wasn't for Draymond Green.
Pretty much.
If it wasn't for the NBA.
Well, actually, guys, I might be in the minority here, but I actually put that 3-peat more with Andrew Bogut's leg injury.
Oh, you already know how I feel about Andrew Bogut.
And Andrew Bogut, if he's protecting the rim the way he should.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't think Draymond should have got suspended for the game.
Well, and I don't either, but here's the thing.
Especially when you look at what went down in the 90s.
But, Manny, let me ask you a question. But see, okay, and you bring up a great point. In the 90s, that's a personal foul.
Yes.
And here's the problem with comparing eras.
What about the 80s?
I used to watch Bill Laimbeer punch Charles Oakley in the face.
Yep.
And that was a common foul. Remember, I don't know if you guys might not remember this. Pluto, you might remember this better.
What about James Worthy?
Do you remember in the Eastern Conference Finals when Parrish clocked Laimbeer like with an overhand right and just...
I didn't remember who it was, but I remember it was Laimbeer who got hit.
Came down like this on top of his face and knocked him
down.
It was Mike, you're all of a whole 365 days older than me.
Well, and my thing, well... I was a nerd as a kid, so leave me alone.
Let's talk about
we got 3.5 minutes.
Okay, well, let's talk about this. 3.5 minutes. Let's talk about McHale clotheslining James Worthy and knocking him down.
You're talking about Kurt Rambis.
Kurt Rambis. I'm sorry. Excuse me. I'm born in '89, so I'm speaking on history. But let's talk about that. That was a personal foul.
Well,
he didn't even get thrown out of the game.
The most egregious foul in the history of the NBA by far. I mean, it literally was the most purposeful thing ever done to try and injure somebody that I've ever seen. And he did it on purpose, and there was no doubt that he
I was thinking goggles.
Well, and but here's the thing.
What is Andy talking about?
I don't know. But the bottom, his Wi-Fi obviously sucks. Hey, Andy, steal some Wi-Fi. It'll work. But anyway, my thing is this. Shout out to all the people who steal cable. But anyway, my point is very simple. Pluto, don't laugh like that. My thing is this, guys. In the NBA, it has become unwatchable because you have so many fouls, so many things that make it unwatchable all the time. And the thing is, I talk to Jeremy Farding and Andy Raven and Chris Lemoyne on a daily basis, great friends of the show. They've supported us from day one, and we appreciate them a ton, and I look for their input a lot. And my thing is they bring up, yeah, Andy, I don't know why you can't get on, buddy. Anyway, but my thing is this. The NBA has become to the point where it's literally a powder puff league where you can't touch anybody. I don't think LeBron James is as successful in the 80s because Bill Laimbeer would have given him a forearm shiver to the side of his face. and he'd have fallen over.
So would a bunch of other people.
He definitely would have survived the Jordan rules.
Pluto, because you were in 5th grade when I was still a seed, I have a question. So,
Thank you.
So here's the thing. In the 80s, does LeBron James have nearly the level of success he does? Hold on. I'm asking the old guy. Does he have nearly the success that he has right now? Being as big as and strong as he is, same build, same everything else, is he as good or as great as he is now?
No. I mean, I'm trying to find.
The Pistons
I'm trying to argue with myself.
The Pistons had the Jordan rules, which simply meant that when Jordan got within 5 feet of the basket, he was to be leveled.
Yeah.
With a forearm.
Yeah.
No, I don't think. If you did that to LeBron, he'd throw his hands up every time.
Okay, but do you have a guy? Boy, we got to go. But do you have a guy who was big enough back then to foul LeBron hard enough to get him to change?
Oh, Bill Laimbeer would have taken him out clean.
Not even that, but even if he played against the Bulls in the 90s, Rodman would have made LeBron James cry every single time they played.
It's been a great show.
We gotta go.
We're almost here down to the last bit of the show. You know, we always like to wind things down with our personal invitation. If y'all been here listening with us, maybe you're not saved. Maybe you've been on the fence about being saved or not. Maybe you're, thinking about coming back to the Lord. It's really simple. All you got to do is believe that the Lord Jesus Christ came off of his throne. He came down here. He was beat. He was chastised. He was hung on the cross for all of our sins. He rose again in 3 days with all power. He lives, and he's here to be Lord and Savior of your life. You believe that. You make that public confession. You're saved. Don't worry about anything else. Let the Lord come and fix everything up, fix you up just like a mechanic on an old Honda like I drive every day. And, he keeps it rolling. He will keep you rolling. And that's just my encouragement to you. God bless all of your families out there. We'll see you next week. Thank you so much for rocking and riding with us. We're going to keep going to the top. Thank you, Manny, for coming out today.
Thanks
you,
for
Pluto.
having me.
Thank you for Big Mike. We here every week. Anything else for you, Big Mike?
No, I just want to say thank you again to the hundreds of thousands of people that this show reaches in every country, every language. We appreciate all of you guys. Have a great night. We will see you next Saturday. Same bat time, same bat channel. This is CWMP. We're out.
CWPNation.com.
I could be better than that. You could be better than that. We could be making mistakes. We could be taking the wrecks. Yeah.